Chapter 275. Fandi's Disciple? Wang Kai's brows twitched. Back then, Fandi said that he wanted to take him in as a disciple. It was just that he didn't agree back then. Also, the purpose of the medallion was only to give him the identity of an emperor. Who would have thought that there were other uses? However, this was just as well. The original purpose of taking out the medallion was to communicate with Fandi so he could show off. Bin Xiao has this medallion because the Empress of the Fan Prefecture is his sworn sister. As for the disciple talk you guys are talking about, Bin Xiao is a revered figure in the immortal martial realm. Why would he need others to teach him? Wang Kai shrugged and laughed arrogantly. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Under the astonished gazes of the crowd, Wang Kai continued, the answer is simple. Only Bin Xiao can teach others. No one has ever taught Bin Xiao. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Impudent. Since the Empress is willing to give you the medallion, it means that she thinks highly of you. Who would have thought that you would be so ungrateful and speak so rudely? As the saint child of the Gathering Treasures Pavilion, I will take back the medallion on behalf of the Empress. Take it out now. Swish. Suddenly, a cold voice rang out, causing the eyes of the crowd to narrow as they stared at the two figures that appeared in the air. The one who spoke was a young man in his late 20s. He was clad in blue robes and had a handsome face. His hands were clasped behind his back as he looked at Wang Kai with disdain. And to the right of the blue-robed young man, there was another young man who was about the same age as him. He was clad in a black robe, the same as Lei Baiqi's. However, what was even more eye-catching was that this black-robed young man only had one eye. The other eye was covered by a black eye patch. From where the black eye patch couldn't cover, one could see an extremely long scar that extended from his left eye all the way to his eyebrow. Holy Sun Tsang Yin, why have you come to the Demon Continent instead of cultivating in the Supreme Tao sect? Lei Baiqi asked with a frown. His eyes flickered as he glanced at Wang Kai. There was a hint of worry in his eyes. The black-robed youth, Tsang Yin, was the holy son of the Paragon Taoist sect. Upon hearing this, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly. After indifferently sweeping a glance at the blue-robed young man, he placed his hands behind his back and looked at the blue-robed young man. With a rather curious smile, he asked, Earlier, you called yourself the Holy Son of the Gathering Treasures Pavilion. Is that right? That's right. My name is Yuan Batian, and I'm Yuan Hao's elder brother. Yuan Batian said coldly. Yuan Hao's elder brother. Others might not know who Yuan Hao was, but Wang Kai and Fatso Lu knew very well who he was. However, they didn't expect that the Yuan family of the Grand Chancellor's residence had such a powerful figure. Wang Kai placed his hands behind his back and sneered. Ha! Yuan Hao is just a defeated opponent of Bin Xiao. Back in the Fan Prefecture, if he hadn't escaped quickly enough, he would have died at Bin Xiao's hands. As for you, if you dare to say another word of pretentiousness, don't blame Bin Xiao for sending you to the Yellow Springs. Yuan Boshin's eyes turned cold when he heard this. With a disdainful and mocking smile, he said, Wang Kai, this holy son has long heard of your great name. However, you don't need to be so smug. Back then, Yuan Hao was able to escape from the Fan Prefecture because of the Empress. Do you know why? Emperor Fan's doing. No wonder they couldn't find any trace of Yuan Hao. Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly as he flicked his sleeves. A strange smile appeared on his face as he asked, What are you trying to say? Swoosh. Yuan Batian turned his hand and pressed down with his palm. He sneered disdainfully and said, Because the Empress knew that this holy son wouldn't be able to resist killing you. Therefore, she secretly used a method to save Yuan Hao and spare your dog life. Buzz. Bang! Puff! In an instant, the palm fell from the sky. The terrifying pressure turned into a palm print that slapped Wang Kai's body and sent him flying. Blood spurted out of his mouth. Saint Emperor Realm. Young Master Kai, little bald donkey, leave him to Master Nyo. You go and beat him up. Fatso Lu's expression changed drastically when he saw this. Just as he was about to go and catch Wang Kai, Nyoja Tian was one step ahead of him. Hearing this, Fatso Lu's expression turned cold without any hesitation. He flipped his palm and shot out a green flame towards Yuan Batian, who was high up in the sky. Strange fire, reincarnation fire. Strong enough, but your cultivation level is too low. Get lost. Yuan Batian snorted disdainfully. His body flashed, and he dodged all the strange flames. Then, he waved his sleeves and released his pressure. Bang! Wah! It was as if Fatso Lu had suffered a heavy blow. His body fell from the sky like a meteor and crashed heavily onto the ground. The bones and tendons in his body made cracking sounds and were all shattered. Buzz! However, Fatso Lu stood up and scathed after the green flames ignited. He glared angrily at Yuan Batian, his face trembling as he snapped, "You want to kill Uncle Lu? Dream on." Yuan Boshin's expression turned cold when he heard this. He sneered and said, "Don't think that you are invincible just because you have a strange fire. This holy sun has already shown you mercy. If you dare to be presumptuous again, I will kill you right here and now." "You are pretending." Wah! Fatso Lu was about to curse, but he spat out a mouthful of blood before he could finish his sentence. His body swayed, and he felt like his consciousness was about to dissipate. Amit Ba, Xening's special flame has just awakened not long ago, so he can't fully control it. Benefactor, you're a Saint Emperor. Xening, as a Saint King, is naturally no match for you. I hope Benefactor will stop insulting Buddhism. Otherwise, this poor monk will not sit idly by. Abbot Huixian put his palms together and said. Yuan Boshin's pupils shrank when he heard this. As a Saint Emperor, he naturally cultivated a perfect spirit. Even if he didn't have a spirit martial skill, he could still destroy a cultivator's spirit. However, it would be difficult for him to defeat a Saint Emperor of the older generation like Huixian. Haha, Abbot Huixian's words are too serious. I hope that abbot can teach this little monk well. Don't associate yourself with weak trash like Wang Kai. The reincarnation hellfire can repair the broken body, but it can't repair the soul. If there's a next time, I will not be merciful. Yuan Batian said with a faint smile. Fatso Lu was trembling with anger. He raised his hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth and said with a cold smile, Yuan Batian, you are very good at showing off. Very good. If I don't beat you until you cry for your father and mother, I am not a man. Good. You are right. Cough, cough. Wang Kai clenched his teeth and sneered. He sat on Nyoja Tian's back with a cold expression. He endured the pain from the blow. If it weren't for his willpower, he would have fainted already. Ignorant ant. Yuan Batian sneered in disdain. With a flip of his hand, the rainbow token in Wang Kai's arms flew into his palm. He said indifferently, You don't deserve to possess this item. This saint has come to take back this token. As for whether you live or die, Treasure Trove Pavilion will not care. Chapter 276. Haha, it's just a piece of scrap metal. So what if I give it to you? If the Fanzhou Empress hadn't given it to Ben Shao, do you think Ben Shao would have kept it? Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. Little did they know that although Wang Kai seemed to be calm at this moment, he'd long since concealed the boundless rage and killing intent at the bottom of his heart. The vital energy and blood in his chest roiled, and the faint pain in his bones and tendons caused the veins on Wang Kai's forehead to bulge while a bone-piercing coldness filled his body. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Wang Kai wasn't happy at all. Even though he had reached the Saint Emperor realm, there was still a fatal gap between him and Yuan Batian. Holy Sun Yuan, are you trying to expel Wang Kai from the Endless Treasures Pavilion? Am I right? Sacred Ancestor Jin Shi narrowed his eyes and sneered, golden light flickering in his pupils. To the side, the Golden Dragon Patriarch also had an inexplicable expression. He moved his shattered dragon claw and sneered. The Holy Sun has always been superior to the Imperial Sun and has the right to take back the title of Imperial Sun. I wonder if Holy Sun Yuan's words are true? Whoosh! Yuan Batian nodded slightly and put the seven-colored token into his interspatial ring. He then cupped his fists and smiled faintly. That's why I'm here. Now that it's over, I'll take my leave. Haha. Holy Sun Yuan is indeed the strongest of the Endless Treasures Pavilion's younger generation. You're so bold. I look forward to your performance at the Myriad Demon Meet. Sacred Ancestor Jin Qi laughed. The Golden Dragon Patriarch was also smiling. It seems that the Myriad Demon Meet will be extremely exciting. I want to see you out. Yuan Boshin's eyes flickered. He turned to look at the black-robed youth and said indifferently, Song Yin, remember to leave his corpse intact. I still need to give an explanation to the Empress. Whoosh! Yuan Batian shot a disdainful glance at Wang Kai before disappearing in a flash. Abbot Hui Xian, Elder Lei, now that Wang Kai has been expelled from the Treasure Trove Pavilion, are the two of you still going to protect him? The Golden Dragon Patriarch sneered. If the two of you really want to stand up for a powerless brat, the great Golden-Winged Pong clan will gladly oblige. Saint Ancestor Jin Qi said indifferently. The Golden Dragon tribe is naturally not afraid. He looked at Wang Kai as if he was looking at a dead man. He had originally thought that Wang Kai was the disciple of the Empress of Fanzhou. But now, it seemed that the token had been taken away by Yuan Batian. This proved that everything was nonsense. If she was really the disciple of the Empress, would Yuan Batian still dare to do this? In other words, would the Empress agree? Obviously, Wang Kai had been deliberately mystifying things before. Ba, as a Buddhist cultivator, I won't choose whether to save or not because of my status as a mortal. Even if Benefactor Wang is immortal, I will save you today. Abbot Huixin put his palms together and said lightly, Whoosh! These words immediately stunned Wang Kai. Fatso Lu clapped his hands and cried out, Old Baldy! Cough cough! Ancestor Huixin is indeed the #1 Buddhist monk in the Buddha Prefecture. Oh no, the #1 Buddhist monk in the 6 prefectures in one island. Saint Ancestor Jin Qi and the Golden Dragon Patriarch didn't care at all. They looked at each other and finally looked at Lei Baiqi. If Lei Baiqi continued to protect Wang Kai, the situation would be under control. Otherwise, Huixin alone wouldn't be able to stop 2 Saint Emperors. Elder Lei, stand down. I will take Wang Kai's life. Before Lei Baiqi could speak, the black-robed young man in the void, Saint Song Yin, ordered in a deep voice. Saint Ancestor Jin Qi and the Golden Dragon Patriarch's eyes were instantly filled with joy. The status of a saint was naturally higher than that of an elder in their faction. With Saint Song Yin here, it would be difficult for Lei Baiqi not to retreat. Indeed, Lei Baiqi's expression was slightly ugly. After a respectful response, he secretly sent a voice transmission and sighed. Little friend Wang, I'm sorry. I can't save you. Whoosh! In an instant, Lei Baiqi's figure flashed and quickly disappeared into the horizon. Wang Kai looked indifferent and didn't show the slightest emotion. As the saying went, if it didn't concern oneself, one shouldn't be affected. Lei Baiqi had stepped forward to save him, and that was already a favor. However, their paths were different. As an elder of the sovereign Taoist sect, Lei Baiqi naturally had to consider the sect's interests. Saint Ancestor Jin Qi, Golden Dragon Patriarch, I will take Wang Kai's life. As for the Green Dragon Daoist Transformation Pool and the Golden Feather Fruit, I won't touch them. You can search his corpse later. If the corpse isn't complete, you can think of another way, Saint Song Yin said indifferently. Whoosh! As soon as he said that, anger flashed in the eyes of the Golden Dragon Patriarch and Saint Ancestor Jin Qi. Such a disrespectful attitude infuriated the 2 Saint Emperors, but they had no choice but to endure it. All right, Saint Song Yin, do as you wish. Saint Ancestor Jin Qi and the Golden Dragon Patriarch looked at each other and smiled. Whoosh! Fatso Lu's figure flashed and came to Wang Kai's side. Although his body was still a little weak, he still shook his big face and grinned. Eldest senior brother, if Song Ren and Lung Feng were here today, we would be able to reunite as the 4 great senior brothers. Wang Kai's eyes flickered when he heard that. He couldn't help but recall what had happened in the Shinwu Academy. Although they hadn't known each other for long, he, Lung Feng, and Song Ren were all from the same sect. No matter who comes, they won't be able to save your life. Take. Holy Sun Song Yin abruptly paused mid-sentence as he stared coldly into the distance. How can I miss out on such a big battle? Whoosh! Suddenly, 4 figures approached from afar. They were led by 2 young men. One of them was rubbing his bald head vigorously. He held a broken black saber in his hand and licked his lips ferociously. His smile was extremely cruel and ruthless. Beside him was a young man with an extremely ordinary appearance. His temperament was extremely cold, and there was no expression on his face. He approached Wang Kai and said in an extremely simple and cold tone, "The position of eldest senior brother is about to change hands. Song Ren, Lung Feng, the 2 of you are here too." Seeing this, Fatso Lu was immediately overjoyed, especially when he saw the 2 old men behind them. Their dense and eerie auras made him feel at ease. Wang Kai's expression was slightly dazed. He had never imagined that there would be a day where he would be saved by someone else. Moreover, it was a fellow disciple from the same sect in Fan Province. A warm current immediately flowed through his heart. Song Ren went to the Demon Prefecture. Lung Feng, you, the Underworld Prefecture, have you already? Wang Kai's pupils shrank. He could sense the murderous aura around Song Ren. It was the unique aura of a Demon Prefecture cultivator. It was very similar to the demonic cultivators he had encountered before. As for Lung Feng, his cold temperament was even more bone-chilling. It was similar to the son of the Emperor of the Underworld, Ming Yi. Wang Kai was not surprised that Song Ren had become a demonic cultivator. After all, based on Song Ren's ruthless style, becoming a demonic cultivator was the best way for him to cultivate. However, meditating was something that only those who had died once could cultivate. Chapter 277. I'm also very curious. What kind of expert can actually kill Big Brother? Kanran rubbed his bald head and licked his lips with a sinister smile. His eyes flashed with a strong, killing intent. Wang Kai and Fatty Lu were also confused by this. However, Lung Feng did not mention this matter. Instead, he looked coldly at the Golden Dragon Clan leader and Saint Ancestor Jin Shi before looking at the black-robed young man, Saint Song Yan. "We're no match for them. Let them fight." Lung Feng retracted his gaze and said coldly, "Whoosh." As soon as he said that, Wang Kai and Fatso Lu's eyes bulged. They were extremely shocked. They did not expect this guy to be so honest. However, Kenran knew him very well and did not mind. He immediately waved his hand and licked his lips with a sinister smile. Just because we can't beat them now doesn't mean we can't beat them in the future. Whoosh, whoosh. The elders behind Lung Feng and Ku Jie stepped forward. One of them had a ruthless face full of killing intent, while the other was cold and expressionless. His skin was as white as paper. "Golden Dragon Patriarch, I want to take his bone. I need Saint Ancestor Jin Chi's wings." Whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, the 2 elders had a clear division of labor. As soon as they finished speaking, they attacked Saint Ancestor Jin Chi and the Golden Dragon Patriarch. Presumptuous. How dare a cultivator from the Demon Continent act so presumptuously in the Demon Continent? "You're courting death." Saint Ancestor Jin Chi roared and instantly transformed into a golden-winged rock. He immediately fought with the elder from the Demon Continent. Immediately after, the Golden Dragon Clan leader also let out a dragon roar. He rolled his body and began to fight with the powerhouses from the Nether Prefecture. "Ahem, Ancestor Huixian, I'll leave this pretentious Song Yan to you." Fatso Lu coughed and laughed. Abbot Huixian was calm when he heard this. He shook his head and smiled. "Umipa, you can't interfere in the battle between the younger generation. Who would fight Song Yan, who is a saint emperor?" Lung Feng, Ku Jie, and Fatso Lu looked at each other before their gazes fell on Wang Kai. Wang Kai's face darkened when he saw this. He thought to himself, if I could beat him, Would you and Batian have been able to leave safely? Immediately, he turned to look at the leader of the Green Phoenix clan and said indifferently, "Take this Tsang Yin down." The younger generation, the patriarch of the Cyan Phoenix clan, was naturally unwilling to interfere, but he was interrupted halfway. Feng Tianan. Wang Kai indifferently spat out 2 or 3 words. Whoosh! The Blue Phoenix clan leader's gaze softened. With a sigh, he transformed into the Blue Phoenix demon body and flapped his blue flaming wings, attacking Holy Sun Tsang Yin with a terrifying momentum. The Supreme Tao sect will not sit idly by and do nothing about the Azure Phoenix race. Tsang Yin's expression was extremely cold. He had never thought that Wang Kai would actually use others to fight. However, he had no choice but to stop it. No matter how Tsang Yin threatened him with the Supreme Gate, the Blue Phoenix clan leader didn't listen at all. Instead, his attacks became even more ferocious. Wang Kai, Jingxian does not belong to you. If you dare to go to the Myriad Demon Meet, I will definitely kill you. Whoosh! Finally, under the violent attacks of the Blue Phoenix clan leader, Holy Sun Tsang Yin gradually fell into a disadvantageous position. His figure flashed, and he continuously retreated, leaving behind a sentence before disappearing into the horizon. What at Tsang Yin? What a Yuan Batian? This young master will definitely repay you one by one during the Myriad Demon Conference. Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly, and his expression was filled with an indescribable coldness. Umipa. Benefactor Wang Kai, I will send you off. Whoosh! As soon as Abbot Hui Xian finished speaking, he directly waved his hand and swept up Wang Kai. Immediately after, he took Fatso Lu and Lung Feng and Cruel Blade and disappeared at the same time. At the same time, the Demon Continent and Underworld Continent Sacred Emperors, who were originally fighting together, swiftly left the battlefield, turning into a stream of light and disappearing in the blink of an eye. Bastard! Bastard to the extreme. The Golden Dragon Clan leader roared angrily. His body turned into a stream of golden light as he chased closely behind. Sacred Ancestor Jin Shi also flapped his golden wings and chased from behind. Dragon Phoenix Valley. After Abbot Hui Xian appeared, Wang Kai opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. He immediately fell from Neo Zhetian's back. He could no longer endure the heavy injuries that he had just suffered. Reincarnation Fire. Whoosh! Fatso Lu hurriedly came in front of Wang Kai. He waved his hand and shot out streams of green flames, merging them into Wang Kai's body. The green flames were clearly burning in Wang Kai's body, causing a layer of green light to appear on the surface of his skin. His injuries were also rapidly recovering. Reincarnation Fire can regenerate, heal, and burn all things. Hee, Fatty, your luck is not bad. Cruel Blade licked his lips and smiled ferociously. Fatso Lu snorted proudly when he heard this. However, in the blink of an eye, he rolled his eyes and directly fell to the ground, fainting on the spot. Like Wang Kai, Fatso Lu's injuries were also not light. Emperor's son. Suddenly, 2 figures appeared one after another. It was the Holy Emperor of the Demon Continent and the Holy Emperor of the Nether Continent. Cruel Blade and Lung Feng nodded slightly when they heard this. They then turned to look at Wang Kai together. The Myriad Demon Conference will be held in the Myriad Demon Palace. We can't enter without permission. If possible, you'd better not send yourself to death. Cruel Blade wiped his bald head and licked his lips with a smile. Lung Feng also said coldly, "If you want to go, it's hard to predict whether you'll live or die." Although he said that, from his understanding of Wang Kai, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens to make him retreat. As expected, Wang Kai sat down cross-legged and shook his head when he heard what Cruel Blade said. He smiled coldly and said, "Ben Shao never likes to be taken advantage of. This is the biggest loss that Ben Shao has ever suffered. This loss must be paid back 10,000 times. Otherwise, Ben Shao will not be able to sleep at night." When these words were spoken, Qin Ren and Lung Feng looked at each other and shook their heads helplessly. "I will wait for you in the North Region's treasure trove city for a month. If I receive news of your death, I will avenge you." Cruel Blade licked his lips and smiled viciously. Lung Feng nodded and said coldly, "Only a month." "Great. In a month, Bin Xiao will definitely go. When the time comes, the four of us will drink for 3 days and 3 nights." Wang Kai laughed out loud. The coldness in his eyes became even more intense. If he wanted to appease the anger in his heart, he would have to return an eye for an eye. "Umitba, I hope that Sir Wang will think twice before you act." Abbot Hui Xian chanted with his hands together. He shook his head and sighed. He swept up the unconscious Fatso Lu and left in a streak of golden light. Lung Feng and Canrun followed the 2 Saint Emperors and headed in the direction of Treasure City. Bang bang. Neoja Tian snorted and looked extremely serious. He said in a low voice, "Little Wang, the Great Monster Conference has only started for 10 days. No matter how talented you are, you will not be able to do as you wish. Moreover, you are not the Imperial Prince of the Treasure Trove Pavilion anymore. Nobody will care about the rules of the younger generation and the older generation." Bang! However, Wang Kai did not care when he heard this. He immediately flipped his hand and took out the 9-dragon cauldron. He urged his mind to look at the pill refinement materials stored within the space ring. Only then did his expression become ferocious and terrifying. He gritted his teeth until they made cracking sounds. His eyes were blood red as he said in a thick voice, "Old cow, I need a pill formula that can refine all the materials in here." Neoja Tian was startled when he saw that. His heart couldn't help but beat violently. It was the first time that he had seen Wang Kai so furious and murderous. Chapter 278. 10 days later, in the depths of the Dragon Phoenix Valley, there was an extremely large palace. It was like a mountain sitting among the mountains. Demonic chi filled the air from within. The battle for the relic between the 4 great clans of the Martial Continent and the Pantheon of Demons had also begun at this moment. The Myriad Demon Conference had already spread throughout the 6 continents and 1 island, causing many forces to secretly pay attention to it. However, due to the rules of the Myriad Demon Conference, only the 4 great clans could enter. As a result, many forces could only wait for the final result of the conference. Compared to the fame of the Myriad Demon Conference, Wang Kai's matter had spread like wildfire over the past few days. It had even overshadowed the Myriad Demon Conference. However, many forces and independent cultivators were only concerned about one question in the end. Had Wang Kai died before the Myriad Demon Conference and the Pantheon of Demons began? All the discussions were about Wang Kai. Thousands of demonic beasts had gathered in the vast arena. The ring-shaped spectator stand were already packed. There were even winged demonic beasts circling in the air to watch. There were as many as 100,000 demonic beasts. Rumor has it that Wang Kai stole 10 golden feather fruits from the golden-winged Great Peng clan and even kidnapped Prince Jin Duo. Even Saint Ancestor Jin Shi could not save face. Has your golden-winged Great Peng clan entered a period of decline? A demonic beast with the head of a tiger and the body of a human raised his claws and mocked with a mocking expression. Beside him sat an expert from the golden-winged Great Peng clan. When he heard this, his face became extremely pale. He said coldly, "Wang Kai has already been stripped of his title as prince by Yuan Batian of the Treasure Trove Pavilion. His Emperor Fan token was also taken away. In the end, he fled with heavy injuries. Death is only a matter of time for him." Brother Jean is right. Wang Kai is no longer the Emperor of the Treasure Gathering Pavilion, so he doesn't have the protection of Emperor Fan. Even if he's a Saint King, it'll be as difficult as ascending to the heavens for him to survive in the demon plane surrounded by the 5 great clans. That's not right? I've heard that Wang Kai escaped with heavy injuries. However, I've also heard that the Fiery Phoenix tribe's patriarch, Feng Tianan, has been captured by him. Moreover, even the Azure Phoenix tribe's patriarch has gone to look for Wang Kai. With the protection of 2 Saint Emperors, it won't be difficult for him to escape the demon province. What do you know? So what if Wang Kai could escape from the demon province? Song Yin, the saint son of the supreme Taoist sect, Yuan Batian, the saint son of the treasure trove pavilion, the Zhang and Zhou families of the martial state, the Shang family of the spiritual state, and the sword saint of breeze. Too many masters want to kill him. That's true. In the past, Wang Kai used the name of the treasure trove pavilion to provoke countless powerful organizations and rogue cultivators. Now that he's out of the limelight, it doesn't matter if it's the demon continent or any other continent. He won't be able to survive. With regards to the discussions of the group of demons, the 5 powerful clans of the Myriad Demon Palace, and the 4 great families of the Martial Province, who were seated at the 2 ends of the large circular arena below, were all filled with disdain as they listened to the discussions of the group of demons. Zhang family patriarch, it seems that we can avenge our nephew Ruoxuan. The Golden Dragon patriarch smiled faintly. After searching for Wang Kai for several days, he still couldn't find any trace of him and could only give up in the end. The same was true for Saint Ancestor Jin Qi faced with Wang Kai and Niu Zhetian's method of concealing their auras. Even an emperor among saints couldn't do anything about it. The Zhang family patriarch of the 4 great families of the Martial Province was a middle-aged man. At this moment, he smiled faintly and said, if he can walk out of the demon province alive, the Zhang family naturally won't let him live. Haha, the Zhou family is the same. The Zhou family patriarch was extremely tall and sturdy, quite similar to Zhou Han. When he heard their discussion, he immediately sneered. The Zhou family also couldn't let go of Zhou Han's death. However, the Lin family patriarch and the Liu family patriarch were silent at this moment. Although the Lin family patriarch was middle-aged, he was extremely handsome and somewhat similar to Wang Kai. When he heard their conversation, his eyes flickered slightly, but he didn't say anything. The Liu family patriarch's face was a little ugly. He looked at a woman in white and said, fortunately, Wang Kai didn't dare to come here. Otherwise, wouldn't it be embarrassing for the Liu family if he took the battle token of the Liu family? The woman in white slightly frowned when she heard this. Her beautiful face was filled with coldness. Her beautiful eyes flickered with a strange light as she looked into the distance. She helplessly sighed in her heart and said with a smile, Wang Kai, don't be stupid and come here to seek death. Haha, but I know that this is just wishful thinking. You will come. This woman was Liu Yao of the Liu family. Behind the Lin family patriarch was Lin Yaoyu, who claimed to be Wang Kai's cousin. However, the 2 women's expressions were extremely complicated at this moment. Based on their understanding of Wang Kai would definitely come. The Supreme Taoist sect saint, Song Yin, has arrived. The Endless Treasures Pavilion saint, Yuan Batian, has arrived. The Endless Treasures Pavilion saint, Yin Xianxian, has arrived. Swoosh! As a demon clan guard shouted loudly, the demon clan and the 4 great families' gazes froze as they looked up at the void. The saint, Song Yin, was dressed in a black robe. His face was cold as he floated down. Beside him was Yuan Batian. His blue robes fluttered in the wind, giving him an extraordinarily handsome appearance. Accompanying him was a woman in a yellow dress. Her face was covered by a light veil, but her figure was graceful and enchanting. Her exposed eyes were extremely ethereal. Haha, Brother Yuan, long time no see. It seems that your martial Tao has improved again. Beside the Zhang family patriarch, a young man greeted him with a smile. Saint Zhang, even if I don't participate in this competition, I can still enter the Dragon Mountain ruins. If you didn't personally invite me, I wouldn't want to bully the weak. Yuan Batian smiled faintly as he looked disdainfully at the demon clan's side. In response, the Zhang family saintess, the Zhou family saintess, and the Liu family saintess all had mocking smiles on their faces. They naturally knew that Yuan Batian was trying to intimidate the demon clan. Yuan Batian, you haven't appeared for many years. The moment you appeared, you heavily injured Wang Kai. Don't tell me you think you're invincible just because of that. If Wang Kai was here, I could also suppress him with one hand. A young man in a golden robe from the Golden Dragon clan said disdainfully. Haha, Brother Dragon is right. If it weren't for the fact that we weren't in the clan at that time, How could we have allowed such a weak piece of trash like Wang Kai to act so presumptuously? He's just a mere holy emperor ant. A young man from the great golden-winged eagle clan also laughed loudly. His golden wings flapped behind him, and his aura was unfathomable. Behind him, Little Rock King Peng Nine and Princess Ruyin frowned when they heard this. If he dares to come here today, I will definitely take his life, Song Yin suddenly said coldly. Then he floated down and sat on a chair. He closed his eyes and didn't say a word. Yuan Boshan's eyes were filled with disdain. He had never taken Wang Kai seriously. It would be too easy for him to kill him. He then smiled at the woman in the yellow dress. Junior sister Qianqian, let's go down too. Yin Qianqian nodded slightly and floated down with Yuan Batian. Chapter 279. I'm afraid it will be difficult for the princes and princesses to participate in this 1,000-demon conference. I wonder where Wang Kai is. If I don't kill him, I won't be able to swallow this anger. Long Gong, the leader of the Silver Dragon tribe, said with an ugly expression. Not only had they been tricked by Wang Kai, who pretended to be the Dragonflower Crown Prince, but he had also taken away countless spiritual herbs and spiritual herbs mountain. The most infuriating thing was that the Silver Dragon tribe was almost destroyed by the Golden Dragon tribe because of the Dragonflower Crown Prince. If they hadn't found out the reason, Chi Mei and the Silver Dragon tribe would have ceased to exist. He must die. Long Chi Mei gritted her teeth. If Wang Kai hadn't pretended to be the Dragonflower Crown Prince, the Silver Dragon tribe wouldn't have suffered such a great loss. Even though the Silver Dragon tribe was spared, Long Chi Mei had to pay the price of marrying the Dragonflower Crown Prince. How could she, who hated the Dragonflower Crown Prince, accept this? On the other hand, Long Tian was more open-minded. Holding the silver spear in his hand, he said with a murderous expression, Chi Mei, don't worry. Wang Kai won't dare to participate in this conference. After the conference ends, I will leave the demon continent and hunt down Wang Kai. Similarly, on the other side of the spectator stand, the only remaining Saint Emperor of the Black Dragon tribe, Long Shu, had a gloomy expression. His hatred for Wang Kai was undoubtedly the most intense. Miss Gu, do you think Wang Kai will die? He asked in a deep voice. As the representative of the number 1 array family in the spiritual state, Gu Bingning naturally came to the 1,000-demon conference. However, she didn't need to participate in the competition. Regardless of who won, she could enter the Dragon Mountain Relic. Now, she was only waiting for the result on the spectator stand. It's hard to tell whether he's dead or alive. However, based on his style and reputation, there's a 90% chance that he will come to the 1,000-demon conference. Even if he doesn't come, there will be a storm of blood in the future. Gu Bingning smiled faintly. He frowned slightly when he heard this. He glanced left and right before sending a voice transmission. The 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir's pill formula is with him. If he dies, won't all our previous efforts go to waste? Haha, I've already copied down the recipe for the 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir. If he can't fulfill his promise with us and take out the 9 Revolutions Soul Return Elixir, we'll just have to think of another way. Gu Bingning said softly with a smile, her tone extremely casual. Since everyone is here, let the 1,000-demon meet begin. Whoosh! As the patriarch of the Golden Dragon clan stood up and announced, a red flame appeared. Looking at the center of the arena, a young man in a red robe was standing there. His face was extremely handsome, just like a woman's. However, the young man's expression was rather gloomy. His eyes were filled with killing intent, as if he wanted to destroy everything. Phoenix Tribe's holy son, Feng Xingtong. It seems like the Phoenix Tribe wants to kill Wang Kai the most. Of course, 3 of the 5 Saint Emperors have died, and the Patriarch of the Phoenix Tribe has been captured by Wang Kai. Even the Patriarch of the Green Phoenix Tribe is missing. Rumor has it that he has already gone to look for Wang Kai to ask for help. If the Phoenix Ancestor Original Spirit Avatar had not joined forces with the original spirits of the Green Dragon and White Tiger to defeat the 3 ferocious beasts, the Phoenix Tribe would have already ceased to exist. All of this has something to do with Wang Kai. It's no wonder the Phoenix tribe's holy son is so gloomy. Although I've never seen him before, according to the rumors, he's always had a refined and polite appearance. With the appearance of the Phoenix tribe's holy son, many of the demon clans discussed animatedly at the side, especially those from the four great clans. Their faces were filled with disdain and ridicule. I, Feng Xingtong, hereby swear that I will definitely kill that human clan's trash, Wang Kai. If he dies in the hands of others, I will exterminate the entire clan of the person who killed him, as well as everyone related to Wang Kai. I won't leave anyone alive, Feng Xingtong said coldly. His tone was filled with dense killing intent, which showed how furious he was now. However, when the other forces heard this, they did not care. 3 of the 5 saint emperors from the Phoenix tribe had died, and the fate of the remaining 2 was unknown. If they wanted the Phoenix tribe to rise again, they would have to use their trump cards. Otherwise, no one would take the Phoenix tribe seriously. Since the Phoenix tribe's holy son is willing to be the first to fight, I wonder who among the 4 great clans will fight? The Golden Dragon tribe leader smiled faintly. Swoosh! Suddenly, a young man flashed out from the Lin clan. He was handsome and had a cold gaze. He held a long sword in his hand and said in a rather cold tone, Lin Shan will fight. The Lin clan's holy son, Lin Shan. Many masters' pupils shrank when they saw this. They did not expect Lin Shan to fight at the beginning of the battle. There were rumors in the 6 prefectures and one island that Lin Shan, the holy son of the Lin clan, was strong enough to be ranked in the top 3 among the holy sons and holy daughters of the 4 great clans. Feng Xingtong's face was still gloomy and terrifying. Without saying anything, he took out a red spear and said coldly, Let's fight. You just said that everyone related to Wang Kai must die. Unfortunately, I am Wang Kai's cousin. Lin Shan sneered coldly. Whoosh! As soon as these words came out, many masters' expressions changed slightly. Then, their expressions became extremely interesting, and their eyes were filled with extreme fanaticism. They instantly understood why Lin Shan would fight in the first round. However, this was not a secret to the 4 great clans. They all knew that Wang Kai's birth mother was the original holy daughter of the Lin clan. However, the 5 great clans of the pantheon of demons looked quite ugly at this moment. They glanced coldly in the direction of the Lin clan, but they were only met with the Lin clan's disregard. Since that's the case, then die. Feng Xingtong sneered coldly. He immediately waved his red spear, and red flames surrounded his body as he attacked holy son Lin Shan. The Alliance of Bragging. Alliance leader has arrived. Suddenly, before Feng Xingtong and Lin Shan could fight, a trembling voice resounded in the air, and it immediately caused many masters to be extremely astonished. Alliance of Bragging? Alliance leader has arrived? However, only Liu Yao and the Little Rock King had extremely interesting expressions at this moment. However, their eyes were mixed with helplessness and deep worry. He still came in the end. Wang Kai, you have some courage. Whoosh! The holy son of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, Yuan Batian, laughed softly. His words immediately shocked many masters, and their expressions changed again and again. Wang Kai, could it be that the alliance leader of the Alliance of Bragging is Wang Kai? He actually dared to come? In an instant, the masters' gazes all looked towards the void. High up in the sky, a golden chariot the size of a house gradually came into view. The chariot's appearance was extremely magnificent. Even the many holy sons and holy daughters present definitely did not have such an arrangement. However, what made the masters dumbfounded was the person pulling the chariot. Oh my God, it's actually a 9-headed golden dragon. Wait, look at the chariot driver. Isn't that the prince of the great golden-winged rock clan, Jin Duo? The one beside Prince Jin Duo. Is it a Pishio? It's actually a Pishio. It's definitely Wang Kai. Isn't his mount, the bull demon, also in the chariot? Whoosh! However, when the bead curtains were blown open, The figures and faces that were revealed from within made the masters even more dumbfounded. Chapter 280. Inside the carriage, there were two beautiful women with alluring figures. They were half kneeling beside the golden dragon table. One of them had an extremely beautiful appearance and an extremely charming temperament. Her delicate face was filled with an enchanting smile. She wore a black gauze dress, and her snow-white skin was faintly discernible. As her delicate figure curved, it was extremely tempting. Beside her was a tall and handsome woman. Although her figure was not as enchanting as the black-veiled woman, the two white bunnies in front of her chest were frighteningly large. Many experts of the demon race could not help but swallow their saliva at the sight of it. Gia, how can you serve him like this? Wah! The Saint King of the Black Dragon clan, Long Shu, who was sitting on the spectator stand, was so angry that he spat out blood. That's a Saint King of the Black Dragon clan. Could that woman in the black gauze be the saintess of the Black Dragon clan, Long Ji? The only demonic genius who can stand shoulder to shoulder with the saints and saintesses of the top forces. It must be her. Rumor has it that Long Ji's appearance is astonishing and she's naturally charming. Her talent is not inferior to the saints and saintesses of the top forces. It's only a matter of time before she becomes a saint emperor. Then the one beside her should be the princess of the Kuan Pong clan. Kuan Shui, right? Is there a need to guess? Look at her. Won't we be able to confirm it? Many experts swallowed their saliva as they stared at Princess Kuan Shui's chest with burning eyes. The size of her breasts was truly the largest among women. The Kuan Pong clan and the Golden Wings clan's expressions were extremely ugly. The prince of the Black Dragon clan was a coachman, and the princess was serving him like a servant. Furthermore, there was no anger on Long Ji's and Kuan Shui's faces. It was as if they were very willing to do so. Even the coachman, Prince Jean Duo, and the 9 golden dragons pulling the carriage looked indifferent. Bastard! Bastard! The patriarch of the Golden Dragon clan scolded harshly. It was fine if it was just a golden dragon pulling the carriage, but one of the 9 golden dragons was the prince of the Golden Dragon clan, Long Xian. Is the young man lying on the dragon bed Wang Kai? He's so young. The 2 women in his arms are the leaders of the Blue Phoenix clan, F***K. The leader of the Blue Phoenix clan actually went to find Wang Kai to plead with him, and now she's even being hugged and doted on. The other young girl is, she's from the Peacock clan? Didn't Wang Kai extract the bloodline of the Peacock race's princess? He wasn't kidnapped either. As the experts from the Demon clan exclaimed, the experts from the Peacock clan turned gloomy. This was especially true for the many powerhouses of the Phoenix clan. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent. Seeing the patriarch of the Azure Phoenix clan, a dignified emperor among saints, being held in the arms of a human brat, a monstrous killing intent rose from his heart. Wang Kai, die! Whoosh! In an instant, the Phoenix star, Tong Holy Sun, sternly berated and immediately turned into a crimson flame that rushed into the sky. Waving the crimson long spear, it pierced into the carriage without any explanation. Clank! However, before Wang Kai could block it, the Holy Son of the Lin clan, Lin Shan, flashed over and waved his sword to block Feng Xingtong's attack. Lin Shan, you're courting death. Feng Xingtong flipped over and stood firmly in the air, staring at Lin Shan with a sinister expression. Lin Shan ignored him. Instead, he swung his sword and said indifferently, Wang Kai is my cousin. Since he dares to come here, it proves that the blood of the Lin clan flowing in his body has not been extinguished. As the holy son of the Lin clan, I naturally can't allow him to die here. Cousin? Cousin? Wang Kai, who was lying on the dragon bed of the carriage, immediately raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He flipped his hand and released Kong Ro and the Green Phoenix clan leader. In the blink of an eye, he got up and crossed his legs. With a rather surprised expression, he said with a smile, Brother, please move aside first. Ben Shao now lacks a phoenix to accompany him. I originally thought that Feng Tian, Nan, and Qing would dance around the carriage, but that Feng Tian, Nan is too stubborn. This is just right. Let that idiot, who clearly wants to be beaten, come over. Whoosh! As soon as these words were spoken, it immediately caused the expressions of many experts to freeze, especially the holy sons and holy daughters of the 4 great clans and 5 great clans. Their expressions were slightly stiff. The golden dragon pulled the carriage. The golden-winged roc was the coachman. The Saint Emperor Black Dragon Holy Daughter was the servant, and the Kunping Princess was also the servant. What was even more infuriating was the Green Phoenix clan leader, a dignified emperor among saints, being held in his arms. No matter how luxurious the carriage was, the holy sons and holy daughters present could obtain it if they wanted. However, they admitted that they couldn't obtain such a formation. Even if they had the protection of a powerful force, they definitely couldn't enter the territory of a peak force and kidnap the holy daughters and holy daughters. Little did they know that Wang Kai had used a total of 220 bragging points to create such a formation. 8 of the 9 golden dragons were at the Saint King realm. The second prince, Long Xian, was at the peak of the Saint realm. He had used a total of 100 bragging points to form a bloodline contract with him. The Black Dragon Holy Daughter, Long Ji, and the Kunping Princess, Kun Shui, had used a total of 20 bragging points. The Green Phoenix clan had used the most, a total of 100 bragging points to form a bloodline contract with them. This was the result of the Green Phoenix clan leader giving up resistance. Otherwise, it would have been even more. If it wasn't so, how could they be so obedient? Even the arrogant Golden Dragon clan could only accept their fate under the restriction of the bloodline contract. They didn't dare to show the slightest bit of displeasure. As for Feng Tianan, Wang Kai didn't use any bragging points to form a bloodline contract with him. Now that he had imprisoned him in the heaven-reaching tower, it would be a waste to use any more bragging points. "Cousin, I'm your cousin. I'm not your brother," Lin Shan said with a displeased expression. However, he still put away his sword and stepped aside. He wanted to see what kind of ability Wang Kai had. Since he dared to come, it meant that he was confident. Wang Kai dot. Swoosh. Feng Xing Tong couldn't bear it anymore. He immediately waved his red spear and charged towards the carriage. Qing capture this pretentious guy and teach him a lesson. Let him accompany Ben Xiao. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders. He raised his hand and patted Qing Er's buttocks. That soft touch made him feel extremely ecstatic. The Green Phoenix clan leader's body trembled slightly. She had already experienced such frivolity countless times. However, she could only grit her teeth and endure it. Her eyes flickered slightly as she nodded and replied, "Yes, young Master Kai." Swoosh! In an instant, the Green Phoenix clan leader flipped her hand and shot out a green flame. It directly hit Feng Xing Tong, who was charging towards her, until he spat out blood and flew back. The Green Phoenix clan leader used his full strength without any mercy. This was because the Green Phoenix clan leader was very clear that if he didn't use his full strength, he would have to go through a lot of trouble to take down Feng Xing Tong. After all, the saint and saintess were also saint emperors. Wang Kai, I said before that if you dare to come, I will definitely kill you. Now die. Whoosh! Saint Song Yin, who was sitting with his eyes closed, suddenly opened his eyes. As soon as he finished speaking, he flipped his body and stepped into the air. His expression was filled with killing intent as he attacked Wang Kai. Haha, leave the Green Phoenix clan leader to me. Brother Song Yin, remember to leave his corpse intact. Following closely behind, the Endless Treasures Pavilion Saint, Yuan Batian, also flashed and blocked the Green Phoenix clan leader's path. Such a scene immediately caused many experts to hold their breaths as they watched with rapt attention. Wang Kai only had one emperor among saints accompanying him. Now that he was blocked by Yuan Batian, who else could save him? Chapter 281. Clap clap. Neoja Tian, who was lying on the chariot, snorted disdainfully and said sarcastically, "Holy son of the sovereign Taoist sect, Hee hee, I can already see your end. No one knew better than Yo Zetian how Wang Kai had spent the past 10 days. It could be said that he had not closed his eyes at all. He had been crazily immersed in refining pills. The shocking killing intent and furious look were still fresh in Yo Zetian's mind. Wang Kai, the sword in his hand is not bad. You have to snatch it and eat it for me. This is what you promised me. You said that as long as I lay here obediently, you would give me delicious food to eat, Pai Xiu said crisply, staring at the long sword in Song Yan's hand. Hearing this, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly. He immediately stood up and took a step forward. The smile on his face suddenly turned into a gloomy and terrifying killing intent. The veins on his forehead bulged, looking extremely frightening. I will snatch it for you, along with his bone structure. 8 inner hidden gates. Stellar transposition. Whoosh! In an instant, Wang Kai's figure disappeared from the chariot. Such speed immediately caused the attacking Song Yan's expression to change abruptly. He suddenly brandished his long sword as he cautiously observed his surroundings. Even he could not see through Wang Kai's movements. This shocked Song Yan greatly, and he could not believe it. Such a scene naturally caused the eyes of many experts to suddenly shrink. Even the leaders of the forces, who were at the peak of the Emperor realm among saints, could not see through Wang Kai's movements. His movement technique is just a little more exquisite. When he dies, whether it is the green dragon Dao transformation pool or the golden feather fruit, they will all be taken by this holy sun. After a short moment of surprise, Yuan Batian regained his smile and stood in the air with his hands behind his back, blocking Qing Wan. On the other hand, Qing Wan clan leader was not anxious or worried at all. She stood calmly in the air, her beautiful eyes full of sadness. She secretly sighed and said, "If the Pantheon does not use its foundation, it will be difficult to escape this disaster." Song Yan, are you ready? Wang. Suddenly, with a gloomy sneer, Wang Kai appeared in front of Song Yan, raised his arm, and suddenly slapped down. Pung. Asterisk Wa. Asterisk with just one blow. The side of Song Yan's face was smashed, and his teeth were all shattered. His body was like a meteor falling from the sky. Rumble. A bottomless pit appeared in front of everyone's eyes, and Song Yan was already dead, buried at the bottom. How is this possible? The aura he just displayed is actually that of a peak Emperor realm saint. This is impossible. How can he reach the peak of Saint Emperor so quickly in just 10 short days? The faces of many masters changed drastically as they stood up and cried out in alarm. None of them were willing to believe that Wang Kai was already an Emperor realm saint, and a peak saint at that. But the scene in front of them was the truth. They had no choice but to believe it. Your realm. Yuan Bo Tian's face suddenly changed. His eyes were gloomy as he looked at Wang Kai. For some reason, a sense of fear rose in his heart. This feeling made him extremely angry, but he could not calm it down. Wang Kai's face was terrifying. Black and blood-red qi flowed around his body. His murderous aura was as gloomy as a demon cultivator's. Hearing Yuan Bo Tian's words, Yang Kai narrowed his eyes and looked at him with a cruel smile. Don't worry, it will be your turn. Before that, I will take you to enjoy a feast. Shua. As soon as his voice fell, Wang Kai stepped into the deep pit. In the blink of an eye, he grabbed Song Yan's neck and flashed out of the pit. Many masters sucked in a breath of cold air when they saw this. Song Yan no longer had a human form. The side of his face had already been smashed into pieces by the slap. His body had suffered such a heavy blow that all the bones in his body had been shattered. Some of the white bones had even pierced through his flesh and hung in the air. There were even blood veins on them. Peak 9th grade Saint Emperor. At your age, you are indeed a monstrous genius. But are you on the same level as Ben Shao? How dare you tell Ben Shao that Jing Xian is yours? Are you tired of living? Asterisk Peng. Wah. Asterisk Wang Kai suddenly swung his fist and punched out, directly piercing through Song Yan's chest, causing his stomach to explode and blood to splatter everywhere. You, wah. Song Yan's eyes widened in anger. The intense pain made him unable to speak clearly, and the light in his eyes gradually dimmed. His aura was so weak that it seemed he would die in the next moment. Song Yan's 5 viscera and 6 bowels were all damaged. Now that his physical body was dead, the only thing that could maintain his life was his soul. An Emperor Realm Saint had cultivated a perfect soul. Even if his physical body was destroyed, his soul could be reborn as long as his body remained. Little friend Wang Kai, can you give us old man some face and let Holy Sun Song Yin go? Shua. Suddenly, a black-robed old man appeared in a flash and arrived before Wang Kai. He looked at Song Yin, who was in a dying state, and when he looked at Wang Kai again, his expression was extremely complicated. He never imagined that Wang Kai would be able to reach such a level in a short period of 10 days. Little did he know that as long as Wang Kai wanted to, he could surpass any master. He just never wanted to do so. If he did, what fun would there be? The world was interesting, but in Wang Kai's opinion, it was better to play around. Lei Ba Chi, Elder Lei, you saved Ben Shao 10 days ago. Ben Shao can give you some face. Wang Kai sneered and took out a pill with a flip of his hand. The pill was white and red in color, and there were 4 golden stripes on it. As soon as Wang Kai took it out, an extremely strong pill fragrance wafted out. That's a saint-grade heavenly pill, the resurrection pill. It's actually a saint-grade heavenly pill, the resurrection pill. That's an ancient pill recipe. How could he have it? How could he refine it? It's rumored that once this pill is consumed, as long as one's soul is not destroyed, no matter how damaged one's physical body is, it will instantly recover. Could it be that he wants to save Holy Sun Song Yin? Is he really afraid of the supreme Taoist X power? This Wang Kai is only SOSO. Immediately, many masters ridiculed Wang Kai, thinking that he was afraid of the supreme Taoist sect. However, when Wang Kai crushed the pill and merged it with Holy Sun Song Yan's body, Holy Sun Song Yan's damaged physical body was completely healed. However, Wang Kai still had a tight grip on his neck. Elder Lei, Ben Shao has already repaid your favor. Now, Ben Shao's revenge has just begun. Don't worry, Ben Shao has a lot of such pills. I will definitely revive Song Yin again and again before he dies again. Bang! Crack! Ah! As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai suddenly threw out a punch and immediately pierced through Song Yan's chest. Then he threw out a series of punches and kicks, instantly smashing Song Yan's limbs into pieces. His bones and tendons exploded in all directions. Such a scene and such words immediately caused many experts to tremble and suck in a breath of cold air. Even the leaders of the forces were frightened to the point that their expressions became somewhat unnatural. Wang Kai is too cruel. Little did they know that in Wang Kai's eyes, this was just the beginning. Chapter 282. Buzz. In the blink of an eye, Wang Kai took out another saint-grade heavenly elixir and infused it into Song Yan's body. His damaged body recovered once again. Cough, cough. Why is your cultivation level at the Supreme Sage level? Song Yan's face darkened as he asked sternly. He couldn't figure out how Suimo could have broken through so quickly. Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly when he heard this. He raised his palm and slapped Song Yan's face, causing his head to tilt to the side and blood to spray out. Ben Shao refined 800 saint-grade heavenly elixirs and broke through 1 grade. Do you believe me? Wang Kai said with a playful smile. Swoosh! These words immediately drew the disdain of many experts, while Song Yan was even more furious. His entire body trembled violently as he berated in a frenzy. What a bunch of nonsense! Nonsense! He didn't know that what Wang Kai said was true. After activating the alchemy function, he could gain 10,000 experience by refining 100 saint-grade heavenly elixirs. Now, he only needed 80,000 experience to break through. Refining 800 saint-grade heavenly elixirs would give him 80,000 experience, which was just enough to break through 1 grade. However, who in the world would believe that? Slap! Wang Kai slapped Song Yin again. Song Yan's face was unrecognizable. He stared at Su Immo angrily but couldn't say a word. The deep humiliation caused Song Yan's arrogance to dissipate. What's the holy son of the supreme Taoist sect? How dare you snatch Ben Xiao's woman? Do you have the ability to do so? You even said that you would kill Ben Xiao if you see him. Why don't you kill one now and show Ben Xiao? Wang Kai sneered. Bang! You have to pay the price for acting tough. Bang! Bang bang! No one can touch Ben Xiao's woman. Even the sect leader of the supreme Taoist sect can be killed by Ben Xiao with one finger. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Subsequently, under Wang Kai's continuous attacks, Song Yin was already beaten to the point where his mind was muddled and his eyes were scattered. The intense pain tormented his nerves again and again, but he was unable to resist it. He could only passively endure the torment. He desperately wanted to die, but he could not do so. Every time he was about to die, Wang Kai would feed him a saint-grade heavenly pill to restore his physical body, and he would welcome another round of bloody torture. Kill me. Kill me. Wang Kai, kill me if you have the guts. My king, do you dare? Song Yin screamed crazily. His hair was disheveled as he was grabbed by Wang Kai. Like a sandbag, he was tortured endlessly by Wang Kai. Little friend Wang, you've gone too far. Whoosh! Suddenly, Lei Baiqi could not bear it any longer. He immediately rushed forward with an ugly expression. He turned his hand and punched toward Wang Kai. Such a scene immediately caused Wang Kai's pupils to shrink. He suddenly raised his hand and said lightly, "Reverse yin-yang palm." Buzz! As a black and white yin-yang disc appeared, it immediately disintegrated all of Lei Baiqi's attacks. Lei Baiqi's body was also shaken, causing him to vomit blood and fly backward. Ben Xiao is already a peak emperor among the holy emperors. His current strength has surpassed the so-called holy emperors of the older generation. If you dare to come forward to stop me, don't blame me for not caring about our old friendship. Wang Kai said with a cold smile. Originally, because he had refined elixirs, he had reached the peak 9th grade emperor among the holy emperors. With the addition of the 8 inner hidden gates, his realm was at the peak of the holy emperor realm. In this world, no one was a match for the holy emperors. Wah! Lei Baiqi steadied himself and clutched his chest. Blood spurted out. He looked at Wang Kai in horror and said in disbelief, "Peak emperor among the holy emperors, no? It should be the half-step immortal martial realm. You have reached the half-step immortal martial realm." Whoosh! As soon as these words were spoken, it immediately caused the minds of many experts present to buzz, especially the leaders of those forces. Their faces were filled with shock. Half-step immortal martial realm. That was the level between the holy emperors and the celestials. It had surpassed the holy emperors and was below the celestials. In today's world, many of the top forces only had the peak emperor among them. The half-step immortal martial realm and the real immortal martial realm were all part of the foundation. Unless it was a last resort, no one would use it. However, Wang Kai's realm, it was unexpected that he had reached the half-step immortal martial realm. Quickly asked the experts of the immortal martial realm to break out of the seal. Whoosh! Suddenly, the patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe stood up and shouted. His face was pale and his eyes were full of fear. The other patriarchs also retreated without hesitation. Since Wang Kai had reached the half-step immortal martial realm, it proved that none of the experts present were a match for him. Wang Kai had treated Holy Sun Song Yin so viciously. It was not difficult to guess what would happen to them. Did Ben Xiao allow you to move? Freeze! Buzz! Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and took out the god-slaying brush. He pointed it at the void, and when the word fix appeared, many demon clan overlords and even the overlords of the 4 great families froze. They were so shocked that they couldn't move at all. Even Yuan Batian, who was trying to escape, was frozen in the air. His eyes were full of fear. Crack! Buzz! With a flip of his hand, Wang Kai smashed Song Yan's physical body to pieces with a punch, and even kept his spirit into the heaven-connecting tower to be suppressed. What is the half-step immortal martial realm? Wang Kai shrugged and asked with a curious expression. He glanced at the terrified faces of the experts below and was even more surprised. Crack! Niuzha Tian snorted and lazily shook his head. He then said in a muffled voice, "The celestial qi layer is above the sheng qi layer. There are 5 levels. The first is the celestial qi layer. The second is the celestial qi layer. The third is the celestial qi layer. The fourth is the celestial qi layer. The fifth is the celestial qi layer. The fourth is the celestial qi layer. The fifth is the celestial qi layer. The fourth is the celestial qi layer, and the fifth is the celestial qi layer." Immortal martial artist, immortal martial ancestor, immortal martial king, immortal martial emperor, and immortal martial emperor. The 5 realms were called the immortal martial realm. Hearing this, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly. He could not help but rub his chin as he said with a rather indifferent smile, "It's merely the immortal martial stage. If this young master wants to reach it, it's just a matter of flicking a finger." Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Oomph. Little Wang, you are done with your bragging. Even if they are under your control, don't forget that this is the pantheon of demons. If you disturb the experts of the immortal martial realm, you know the consequences. Niuzha Tian snorted disdainfully. Whoosh! As soon as his voice fell, the expressions of the demon clan experts immediately tightened. The Zhou clan and the Zhang clan of the 4 great clans were so frightened that their faces turned pale. How is Wang Kai going to treat them? Note: refining 100 pills will earn you 10,000 experience points. This has already been written in the previous chapter. Please refer to Chapter 218, Alchemy Furnace, for details. Chapter 283. 10 days ago, you acted tough in front of Ben Shao. Now, have you thought about the consequences? The great holy prince of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, Yuan Batian? Whoosh! Yuan Batian watched in horror as Wang Kai stepped through the air with his hands clasped behind his back and appeared in front of Yuan Batian. Yuan Boshin's heart beat violently as he looked at Lin Fan's face that had become crazy due to the burning of his soul and bloodline. It was as if his heart would jump out of his throat in the next moment. The fear in his heart made him want to go crazy. Slap! Suddenly, Wang Kai raised his hand and viciously slapped him across the face. Immediately, the flesh and blood on his face were sent flying. One could clearly see that all of his teeth were shattered, and even his facial bones were left behind in the minced flesh. You slap. Slap, slap. However, no matter how enraged Yuan Batian was, all he received was a slap from Wang Kai. After a mere 2 or 3 slaps, his face was completely unrecognizable. Even one of his eyes had been smashed, causing him to whimper and whimper. You took back the position of Holy Prince of the Endless Treasures Pavilion and took away Emperor Fan's token. You, as a peak Holy Emperor, showed off your strength in front of Ben Shao, a Holy Emperor. Don't you feel a sense of accomplishment? Wang Kai sneered coldly. He immediately raised his leg and kicked Yuan Boshin's left leg. Bang! Slap! Hiss! Yuan Boshin's left leg was shattered by Wang Kai's kick, causing him to howl repeatedly in pain. Bits of flesh, blood, and bone fragments sprayed out, yet he couldn't make a sound as his tongue had already been blown apart by the slap. Ben Shao started cultivating at the age of 15 and reached the peak of Holy Emperor at the age of 16. Now he's only 16 years old and has already become a Holy Emperor. Oh no, he should be a half-step immortal martial cultivator. As for you, you're almost 30 years old and have been nurtured by the Endless Treasures Pavilion since you were young. As for Ben Shao, he has never relied on the Endless Treasures Pavilion to break through. Huh! Bang! Crack! Yuan Boshin's right leg was shattered by Wang Kai's kick. However, due to his spirit Dao, he was still unable to move. He could only endure the pain and mental torture as he hung in the air. Perhaps the people of the 6 prefectures and 1 island would think that Bin Xiao was born in Fan province, that his status was low, and that his talent was extremely poor. But didn't you also come from Fan province? Why was he so weak? Trash. Ant. Shouldn't I return these 2 titles to you? Bang. Crack. Crack. Wang Kai raised his hand and squeezed Yuan Boshan's arm, crushing it. Blood, flesh, and bones flew in all directions. Droplets of blood splattered on Wang Kai's face, but they didn't cause any expression on his face. They only served to make his already sinister and vicious face even more terrifying. Wang Kai, this saint can give Monarch Fan's token to you. I am also willing to become your servant. I hope you will let me go. All of a sudden, Yuan Batian, who couldn't speak, could only communicate with his soul. His remaining I was about to pop out of its socket. Wang Kai gently shook his head and extended 2 fingers. His movements were extremely slow as he slowly dug them into Yuan Boshan's eye socket. As Yuan Batian let out a hoarse roar, Wang Kai forcefully ripped his eye out. Monarch Fan's token? Haha. Do you really think Bin Xiao will care about a piece of scrap metal from the Endless Treasures Pavilion? The identity of the Fan Province Empress disciple? Bin Xiao is not afraid to tell you that once we leave the Monster Province, the Fan Province Empress will have to submit to Bin Xiao. Hanging her up and beating her up is already a light punishment. And this young master will make her this young master's maidservant. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sneered. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. As the owner of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, it was impossible for the Fan Province Empress to not know about Yuan Boshan's actions. Since she already knew and still dared to act so impudently, then there was no need for him to care about her feelings. If it was before, he only wanted to beat up the Fan Province Empress. But now, it wasn't as simple as just beating her up. However, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard the notification. With his current cultivation level, was he still not a match for the Fan Province Empress? Wasn't she just a sovereign among saints? No matter what, he couldn't let the Fan Province Empress go when he left the Monster Province. Your physical body will be destroyed here. As for your spirit, haha, Bin Xiao will make you accompany Tsang Yan's spirit day and night, tormented at all times. Crack! As his words fell, Wang Kai waved his hand and instantly shattered Yuan Boshan's physical body. Then, with a flip of his hand, Yuan Boshan's spirit was sucked into the heaven-connecting tower. For them, even death was an extravagant hope. Next, it's your turn. Just now, when Bin Xiao was outside, he seemed to have heard someone say that as long as Bin Xiao was here, he could suppress him with a single hand. I wonder who said that. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders. With his hands behind his back, he floated down from the sky. Wherever his gaze swept, the experts would retreat one after another. Cousin, if you want revenge, then go ahead. Can you let go of your cousin? There's also your uncle, your cousin, and those uncles. Suddenly, Lin Shan Chosen, who was frozen in the air, spoke with an extremely displeased expression. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and involuntarily looked in the direction of the Lin family. The one leading them was the head of the Lin family, who was also his biological mother's elder brother. It was my fault for not allowing your parents to get married back then. Do as you wish. The head of the Lin family sighed and closed his eyes. He had no intention of letting Wang Kai release him. On the other hand, Lin Yaoyue's pretty face was rather ugly as she gritted her teeth and said, "Little bastard, you even dare to play with your cousin like this. Why aren't you releasing the spiritual Dao shackles?" The corners of Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. He took out the Death God brush and released the numerous Lin family experts. Then, he pointed it in the direction of the Liu family. "Thank you, cousin, for saving us." The Lin family's saintess, Lin Kur, bowed with a slightly red face, her beautiful eyes flickering as she sized up Wang Kai. The numerous experts of the Liu family had extremely complicated expressions at this moment. They never thought that Wang Kai could have such power. Now that they were released, they could only smile stiffly and cup their fists to thank him. Even the Liu family's chosen and saintess did not dare to show the slightest disrespect at this moment. They were already frightened by Wang Kai's ruthless methods. Liu Yao's heart was filled with mixed feelings. She did not expect Wang Kai to surpass her by so much. However, when she saw the head of the Zhou family, she secretly transmitted a message to him. Wang Kai, can you save my mother? Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly when he heard this. After glancing at her indifferently, he looked at the head of the Zhou family and said indifferently, Head of the Zhou family, stay by Ben Xiao's side for the time being. If the Zhou family wants someone, release Liu Yao's mother. No discussion. Whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai put the head of the Zhou family into the heaven-reaching tower. Then, he flipped his hand and pressed down, saying indifferently, The Zhang family must be destroyed. Palm print 8 desolation. Buzz. Crack. In an instant, an extremely huge palm print fell from the sky and smashed all the people of the Zhang family into pieces. Regardless of whether it was the head of the family, the chosen, or the saintess, they were all dead. Congratulations to the host for successfully killing 3 ninth grade Saint Emperors. You have received 30,000 experience. This scene immediately caused many experts to suck in a breath of cold air. A chill ran from the bottom of their feet to the top of their heads. Wang Kai, if you leave the demon continent now, the Golden Dragon tribe will sever all ties with you. We will have nothing to do with each other from now on. That's right, the Golden-Winged Great Peng tribe is willing to do the same. The Peacock tribe, the Kuan Peng tribe. Wang Kai's expression was extremely disdainful when he heard this. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he said indifferently, Saint Ancestor Jin Shi must die. The head of the Golden Dragon tribe must also die. Ben Xiao disdains to kill the rest. Chapter 284. Hearing this, many experts heaved a sigh of relief. As long as Wang Kai didn't take their lives, it would be fine. However, Saint Ancestor Jin Shi and the clan leader of the Golden Dragon clan were nervous, especially when they recalled Wang Kai's cruel means. They became more fearful, and their faces turned pale instantly. Wang Kai, if you dare to disrespect me, even if I can't take you down today, you should think carefully in the future. Any one of the golden-winged Great Rock clan can make you have nowhere to run in the 6 prefectures and 1 island. Saint Ancestor Jin Shi said sternly. The clan leader of the Golden Dragon clan scolded coldly. Wang Kai, your martial way realm has reached the half-step immortal martial realm. Such a realm is not allowed according to the rules agreed by all the forces. You have broken the original rules. Since the rules have been broken, half-step immortal martial realm experts are everywhere in the pantheon of demons. They will break the seal and come out soon. The so-called agreement was that the half-step immortal martial realm experts and experts of higher realms were not allowed to walk in the world. Now, because of his existence, the rules were broken and the agreement no longer existed. So, those experts who had been sealed would come out one after another. This was interesting. Wang Kai shrugged and glanced at them casually. Suddenly, he turned his hand and pressed down. He said indifferently, If you are done, die. Palm print 8 desolation. Wang Kai you bang. Rumble. As a huge palm print fell from the sky, Saint Ancestor Jin Shi and the clan leader of the Golden Dragon clan were smashed into pieces. Even their divine souls were destroyed and dissipated. Congratulations to the host for successfully killing 2 ninth grade Holy Emperors. You have gained 20,000 experience points. Many experts looked at the 2 deep pits on the ground and couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. First, the Zhang clan had been completely annihilated. Now, Saint Ancestor Jin Shi and the Golden Dragon clan leader had lost their lives here. Wang Kai was so strong. No one could do anything to Wang Kai if they don't use their trump cards. Many powerhouses sighed in their hearts with indescribable expressions. Just as Saint Ancestor Jin Shi and the Golden Dragon clan leader had said, From today onwards, the 6 prefectures and 1 island would be filled with powerhouses. Just now, you're the one who threatened to suppress Ben Shao with one hand, right? A reptile of the Golden Dragon clan? Whoosh! Suddenly, Wang Kai appeared in front of the Golden Dragon clan's holy son in a flash. He stretched out his hand and slapped the holy son's head. No! No! Ah! Bang! Crack! Congratulations to the host for successfully killing a 9th grade Saint Emperor. You have received 10,000 experience points. With an explosion and a system notification, the holy son of the Golden Dragon clan's head had been smashed to pieces. His headless corpse fell to the ground, and with a flash of golden light, it instantly turned into a huge, headless golden dragon. This scene caused the expressions of the Golden Dragon clan's holy maiden and princess to change. They stared at Wang Kai in fear, afraid that Wang Kai would also kill them. If possible, they did not want to see Wang Kai again for the rest of their lives. To their surprise, Wang Kai only glanced at them indifferently before leaving with his hands behind his back. He walked to where the golden-winged Great Peng clan was. They had thought that Wang Kai was a human demon who killed without batting an eyelid, but now it seemed like that was not the case. You said that Ben Shao was only a Saint King ant, and that if you were in the golden-winged Great Peng clan's territory, you could have easily killed Ben Shao, right? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled mockingly. Whoosh! With that, the holy son of the golden-winged Great Peng clan's expression changed drastically. Cold sweat beaded on his forehead as he stared at Wang Kai in fear. He stammered, I've never said anything like that. The little rock King Peng Nine and Princess behind him both had a look of disdain in their eyes when they heard this. Just a moment ago, he was still so arrogant and boastful, but now he was scared like a coward. The many experts of the Yao clan on the spectator stands all had extremely strange expressions. They had never thought that the holy son of the golden-winged Great Peng clan would be so cowardly. However, when they thought about Wang Kai's strength and ruthlessness, as well as his current level of cultivation, let alone the holy son of the golden-winged Great Peng clan, even the holy sons of other peak forces would feel the same way. Never said anything like that. Sigh, I wanted to let you live. After all, Ben Shao has always treated people with sincerity. He is the most outstanding youth in the 6 prefectures and 1 island. But you, since that's the case, report to the underworld. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. Then, he flipped his hand and slapped the holy son of the golden-winged Great Peng clan's head. Bang! Crack! Instantly, the holy son of the golden-winged Great Peng clan's head turned into a rain of blood and bone fragments. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully killing a 9th grade Holy Emperor. You've received 10,000 experience points. Host, if you want to break through to the immortal martial realm, you'll need to cultivate the immortal true spirit technique. Hearing the prompt, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows. He secretly activated his mind and said, Cultivate the immortal true spirit technique. Host, cultivating the immortal true spirit technique requires 1,000 bragging points. Host, Wang Kai occupation, martial artist, rune cultivator auxiliary occupation, alchemist realm, 9th grade holy emperor cultivation skills, limitless holy soul technique, elixir codex, spirit codex martial skills, stellar transposition, palm reversal yin-yang, time 9 swords, spiritual flying knife technique, indestructible fist, vitality bomb equipment, Tower of Babel, 9 dragon cauldron, god punishing brush bloodline, 8th grade bragging points, 990 experience, 900009000. Wang Kai quickly glanced at it and his face turned green. He never thought that the immortal true spirit technique would require so many bragging points. Moreover, according to what he had, he was still short of 10 bragging points. The experts of the golden-winged Great Peng clan looked at Wang Kai, who was still standing in front of them with a gloomy face. They were so frightened that their hearts were in their throats. Especially the holy maiden of the golden-winged great Pung clan. Her beautiful eyes were filled with fear and a trace of unwillingness. Why was the holy maiden of the golden-winged great Pung clan able to survive? Why was it that her life and death were uncertain? Is this saintess ugly? Am I not as good as the holy maiden of the golden-winged great Pung clan? For some reason, the holy maiden of the golden-winged great Pung clan had such a thought. I vaguely remember that 30,000 years ago, Ben Shao suppressed the entire immortal martial domain. He beat the experts of the domain until they all bowed down to him. In the end, he stomped his feet and broke the immortal martial domain into 7 pieces. That's why there were 6 prefectures in one island. Wang Kai shook his head and said, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points." Many experts were astonished when they heard this, especially the experts of the golden-winged great Pung clan. At this moment, they were all looking at Wang Kai strangely. It was very strange. Why did he suddenly say this? Moreover, he was obviously bragging. Cultivate the immortal true spirit technique. Wang Kai urged. Congratulations to the host for successfully cultivating the immortal true spirit technique. 1,000 bragging points have been consumed. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 1st grade immortal martial realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 9th grade immortal martial realm. Chapter 285. Host, Wang Kai profession, martial artist, symbol cultivator auxiliary profession, alchemist realm, 1st grade immortal martial artist cultivation technique, immortal Tao, true spirit technique, alchemy codex, spirit codex martial skills, stellar transposition, palm reversal yin-yang, 9 swords of time, spirit flying knife technique, undying fist, yuan chi bullet equipment, Tower of Babel, 9 dragon cauldron, God punishing brush bloodline, 9th grade bragging points, 0 experience, 10000900000 Wang Kai casually glanced at it, then closed it with his mind. He thought to himself, my experience increased by 10,000, and my bragging points are all used up. Looks like I'll have to brag more in the future. Under the nervous gazes of the great golden-winged rocks, Wang Kai finally stepped into the air with his hands behind his back, his expression calm. Seeing this, the great golden-winged rocks secretly let out a sigh of relief. Wang Kai, will we meet again? Suddenly, a voice rang in his mind, causing Wang Kai's brows to twitch. He squinted his eyes slightly and gave Princess Ruoyan a subtle wink. He even put his finger to his lips and gave her a flying kiss. This situation caused the eyes of many experts to bulge, especially the leader of the great golden-winged rocks, the golden-winged holy maiden. Her beautiful eyes flickered, and the corners of her mouth curled into a smile. She completely believed that Wang Kai did this for her. Little did she know that the one who made Wang Kai do this was Princess Ruoyan. Her face was already slightly red, and she lowered her head shyly, her beautiful eyes rippling with a strange light. Whoosh! When Wang Kai floated into the dragon, traversing the heavens carriage, he lazily reclined on the golden dragon throne. He clenched his fist and supported the side of his head. He softly chuckled. Yellow clouds cover 1,000 miles in broad daylight. The northern wind blows wild geese and snow flutters. Don't worry about not having friends on the road ahead. Who doesn't know you? Ben Shao has come to the Demon Province today, but unexpectedly has not met a worthy opponent. I'm really lonely. Farewell. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Such a poem caused Princess Ruoyan's beautiful eyes to shine brightly. There was actually a flash of adoration in them, and her pretty face became even redder. Crack! Crack! Are you leaving just like that? I haven't eaten enough. Hey, wait for me. The Pisho was gnawing on one supreme treasure after another. Regardless of whether it was the imperial level or the saint level, They were all chewed up and swallowed into its stomach. Many of the cultivators who were watching had twisted mouths and slanted eyes. Their faces were full of pain. Those supreme treasures belonged to the many experts present, but they couldn't move at all. They were all swallowed by the Pishio. Young Master Wang, can Bingning accompany you? Suddenly, Gu Bingning's beautiful face was filled with a gentle smile, and her voice was quite clear. Wang Kai was stunned when he heard this. He narrowed his eyes and sized her up. He was leaving the Demon Province this time to make a trip to the Sun Moon Island, and the ruins that Gu Bingning and Bai he knew of were in the Tool region of the Sun Moon Island. The sun fruit that Lin Han Tian and Lin Han Yue had told him about was also on Sun Moon Island. However, it was in the Elixir region. Thinking of this, Wang Kai nodded slightly. He took out the god-punishing brush and said softly with a smile, "Come up, Miss Gu." Swoosh! As Gu Bingning and Bai he stepped into the air, the dragon chariot rushed into the distance and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Only the Demon Clan experts who couldn't move at all were left. They stared blankly at the sky. They didn't want to believe that a human could come to the myriad demons' palace and make a scene and then leave safely in the end. That little bastard. He didn't even say goodbye to his cousin. Lin Yaoyue gritted her teeth and cursed. St. Lin Shan didn't care at all. He smiled faintly and said, "What he did is understandable. An immortal martial realm expert is about to appear. Although our Lin family has a foundation, we can't withstand the entire Demon Clan, the Zhou family, and the Zhang family, and that sovereign Taoist sect. If he is related to us, even if the Lin family isn't afraid, it is destined to be difficult." Not bad. I didn't expect her son to be so outstanding. The Lin family head sighed with relief. His eyes flickered slightly as he looked at the void. Traces of guilt flashed through them. On the Liu family side, Liu Yao's face was extremely cold. Her eyes were firm as she secretly smiled and said, "Wang Kai, I won't lose to you." In the void, 9 golden dragons pulled the dragon chariot past. Such a powerful aura instantly frightened the demon beasts in a mountain range below. They all roared and retreated. Inside the chariot, Wang Kai hugged the Azure Phoenix clan leader Qing, with one hand and the mischievous Kongro with the other. On the side, Kuan Shui pinched grapes and gently placed them into Wang Kai's mouth. Every time she got up, it would cause the 2 buns of white rabbits to sway slightly. It truly dazzled Wang Kai, and he felt like he was about to spit out blood. Such an emperor-like enjoyment instantly made Bai he envious. The meaning in his eyes was obviously jealousy and hatred. Gu Bingning sat on the dragon throne on the left. Her expression was indifferent, and her eyes were calm. She didn't feel anything. In her opinion, with Wang Kai's current strength, it wasn't a big deal for him to receive such enjoyment. They were already shocked when Wang Kai showed up in the pantheon of demons. Now, she didn't feel anything was wrong. On the other hand, the saintess of the Black Dragon clan, Long Ji, was pale. Her eyes were filled with killing intent as she lowered her head. She didn't move at all. Wang Kai obviously noticed Long Ji's abnormality, but he could more or less guess her current feelings. He shrugged and said, "Long Ji, the only Saint King of the Black Dragon clan, was in the Myriad Demon Palace earlier. He must have secretly told you about the Black Dragon clan. Ben Shao won't hide it from you." That's right, the Black Dragon clan was destroyed by Ben Shao. Whoosh! The moment she said that, the beautiful eyes of the women in the carriage suddenly widened. Their expressions were somewhat stiff as they looked at the saintess Long Ji. "Then why did you keep me here? Why? Do you want me to serve an enemy who killed my father and clan? You're despicable. You're a demon through and through." Long Ji's pretty face was livid as she scolded. Her beautiful face looked twisted and ferocious as her murderous intent filled the sky. Wang Kai ignored her. Instead, he shrugged and said casually, "The Black Dragon clan wanted to kill Ben Shao back then, but they failed and died in the end. In this world where the strong prey on the weak, Ben Shao doesn't feel like he did anything wrong. Back then, he had just learnt the yin-yang reversal martial technique. He didn't know how terrifying the martial technique was, which was why so many experts of the Black Dragon clan had died. Wang Kai obviously wouldn't say that. Otherwise, wouldn't he lose a lot of face? Even didn't know how powerful the martial technique he learnt was. In the end, he couldn't stop himself and killed all the experts of the Black Dragon clan. If he said that, wouldn't he become a laughingstock in the future? You didn't answer my question. Since you were so cruel and merciless as to exterminate my entire clan, why do you still want to keep me alive? Are you trying to humiliate me? You damned demon. Long Ji said harshly. If it weren't for the bloodline contract, she would have attacked Wang Kai already. Even if Wang Kai's cultivation was much higher than hers, Long Ji wouldn't hesitate. Even if she died in the end, she wouldn't let Wang Kai go. Chapter 286. Wang Kai raised an eyebrow when he heard that. He looked at her in amusement and smiled indifferently. If Bin Xiao wanted to humiliate you, would he still let you live so comfortably? Then what do you want? Long Ji clenched her teeth as her body trembled from anger. If it was possible, Long Ji would kill Wang Kai on the spot. The Black Dragon clan had been destroyed, and her father had died a horrible death. Yet she was still serving him with a smile on her face. If it were not for Long Shu, the only remaining Saint King of the Black Dragon clan, telling her through a communication technique, she probably would still be in the dark right now. How could she endure the grief and indignation she felt? I don't want anything. If you want to leave, Bin Xiao can remove the bloodline contract with you. Also, Bin Xiao can only save your father from the deaths of all the experts of the Black Dragon clan, provided that his corpse is still intact, Wang Kai said nonchalantly. Aside from the patriarch, the rest of the Black Dragon clan had been slain with the soul-throwing blade technique. Even a 9 revolutions soul return pill could not revive them. The reason why he could treat Long Ji like this was because she had not done anything drastic in the past few days. As the saying went, leave a way out for everything. Although Wang Kai did not care about the destruction of the Black Dragon clan, it was difficult for him to kill Long Ji right now. If Long Ji came for revenge in the future, Wang Kai obviously would not show her any mercy. You can save my father? Long Ji was stunned. Her eyes widened as she stared at Wang Kai in disbelief. Even as the holy maiden of the Black Dragon clan, she had never heard of reviving the dead. Gu Bingning's eyes flickered slightly in response. She said softly, reviving the dead is not difficult for alchemists. It's even easier for young Master Wang who possesses the dustless flames. Swish! With that, a blinding light appeared in Dragon Ji's eyes. She looked at Wang Kai with great seriousness. She gritted her teeth and said, Since you are confident in saving my father, why can't you? I'm very sorry. The situation was urgent at that time, so Bin Xiao used his martial skill and killed all the experts of the Black Dragon clan except for your father. Wang Kai said frankly, not hiding anything. For some things, concealing them was not a good thing. Often, it would bring more trouble. Moreover, with Wang Kai's current martial arts realm, there was no need for him to worry about anything. Obliterating the divine soul. Plop. When Dragon Maiden heard this, her body trembled. It was as if she had lost all her strength. She collapsed on the carriage. When Wang Kai saw this, he sighed. It looked like he had been too naive to ask Dragon Maiden to resolve her hatred. He suddenly felt like he had been too naive. Wang. Then, with a point of Wang Kai's finger, a bloodline contract formation appeared between Long Ji and him. With a crackling sound, the bloodline contract formation shattered. Kuan Peng Princess Kuan Shui's eyes flashed when she saw this scene. Her actions became even more gentle as she served Wang Kai. The bloodline contract between you and me has been broken. As for saving your father, Bin Xiao will fulfill his promise after he finds the materials to refine the elixir. You can go now, Wang Kai said calmly. Dragon Maiden clenched her teeth and stood up. Her delicate body was trembling slightly as she stared at Wang Kai with an extremely cold gaze. Her jade-like hands were clenched so tightly that they turned white. She coldly said, Wang Kai, Dragon Maiden and you are irreconcilable. Swish! As Dragon Maiden flew away with murderous intent, Wang Kai looked indifferent. He did not show any emotion. It was as if he did not care. Slap. When Neo saw this, he snorted and said disdainfully, "Little Wong, when did you become so soft-hearted? In my opinion, it is better to kill the holy maiden of the Black Dragon clan." Neo knew Dragon Maiden's talent, but Wang Kai knew it even better. Even if she was not qualified to fight with Wang Kai now, it did not mean that she would not be able to in the future. However, just as Wang Kai thought, she had accompanied him for 10 days and served him carefully. She had never complained. Although it was because of the bloodline contract, Wang Kai was not a heartless person. He could not bear to kill her. If he could really do it, he would have taken her life just now. However, he would only be merciful once. From the moment Dragon Maiden left, the two of them had become enemies. Even if it was only Dragon Maiden's hatred. Haha, Binchao's talent is the best in the world. Who in the world can compete with him? Who can compete with him? Since that is the case, why should we have any scruples? She can become stronger in the future, and this young master only needs to become stronger. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled with a rather indifferent expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Slap. When Neo heard this, he snorted and his face was full of disdain. Young Master Kai is right. Shuer admires you. Kuan Shue's eyes sparkled and the smile on her beautiful face was stiff and unnatural. It was difficult for Kuan Shue, the princess of the giant bird clan, to worship him against her will. When Wang Kai saw this, how could he not know what she was thinking? He shrugged and nodded gently with a smile. Little Shuer, you have good taste. However, if you want to break the bloodline contract, you can't rely on flowery words alone. Whoosh. As soon as he said this, Kuan Shue's face stiffened. She forced a smile and put a grape into Wang Kai's mouth. When she lowered her head, there was a flash of anger in her eyes. This damn bastard, Kuan Shue cursed secretly. Her tender body couldn't stop trembling, causing her breasts to sway. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and felt a little thirsty. He couldn't help but smile and say that, ahem, if Shuer is willing to let Bin Xiao have a taste. Ahem, Bin Xiao can consider it. As soon as Wang Kai's voice fell, Kuan Shue's eyes lit up with hope. She immediately raised her head and looked at Wang Kai with a smile on her face. Her forced tenderness was extremely stiff as she asked softly with a smile, Young Master Kai, I wonder what you want to taste. Ah, bastard. However, she saw that Wang Kai's eyes were staring at her chest. Kuan Shue immediately screamed, and her pretty face suddenly turned red like blood. She glared at him with shame and anger in her eyes. Ha! Ha ha! Young Master Wang really likes to joke. Gu Bingning couldn't stand it anymore. Her pretty face was slightly red, and she said with a stiff smile. Even the Blue Phoenix clan leader's ears were red, and her eyes were full of panic. She was already worried. What if one day, Wang Kai did the same to her? Thinking of this, the Blue Phoenix clan leader moved away from Wang Kai unnaturally. Kong Ro, on the other hand, looked at Kuan Shue's chest mischievously and then looked down at her own. In comparison, it was like a melon and a mango. She immediately pouted and snorted unhappily. What's so good about being so big? It's inconvenient to fight, and it's even more inconvenient to walk. Look, it's like this bunch of grapes. How cumbersome. Wang Kai, this little beauty will tell you from personal experience that small is better. Whoosh! As soon as she said this, the faces of the women in the carriage froze. But he even swallowed his saliva crazily. When he looked at Wang Kai again, the envy and jealousy in his eyes became more intense. Please support the original. Thank you for your support. Chapter 287. Little Peacock, if you think I'm not as good as you, we can have a fight, said Kuan Shue angrily. She didn't want to listen to Kong Ro. She was the princess of the Kuan Peng clan, and she loved to fight. How could Kong Ro call her a burden? Whoosh! Suddenly, Kong Ro stood up with her hands on her waist. She raised her head arrogantly like a little swan and snorted. Do you think this little beauty is afraid of you? Buzz. The two women's auras suddenly collided, causing the dragon chair and dragon table to shake. However, in the end, Kuan Shui was no match for them and was forced to take a few steps back. "Humph. Do you know how strong I am now?" said Kong Ro proudly. After refining the Bodhi blood transformation pill and activating the atavistic bloodline, Kong Ro had now awakened. Her cultivation had already reached the terrifying level of a saint ruler. Kuan Shui was only at the peak of the Saint King level. "You? Little thing." Kuan Shui's face was cold, but she was no match for Kong Ro. She could only turn her anger into a sneer. Her beautiful eyes glanced at Kong Ro's small breasts. His words immediately angered Kong Ro to the point her delicate body trembled. She clenched her teeth tightly and snorted. "You're jealous. Hee hee. You're the one who's jealous, right? Little thing." Kuan Shui sneered disdainfully. Intentionally or unintentionally, she moved her body, causing the two bunnies on her chest to sway slightly. Wang Kai's eyes went wide. When Kong Ro saw that, she felt extremely wronged. She ran over to Nyoja Tian, her eyes red. "Master, they're bullying me." Slap. Nyoja Tian snorted and wagged his tail. He said, "Don't worry. When I come up with an ancient recipe, I'll make that girl admit defeat." "Really?" When he said that, not only did Kong Ro's eyes light up, even Wang Kai gulped and looked at him with eager eyes. "Of course it's fake. Master Nyo doesn't know the recipe. By the way, little brat Wang, if you dare to bully my disciple again, don't blame me for being impolite," Nyoja Tian said. Wang Kai immediately raised his eyebrows when he heard that. He shook his head in disappointment and sighed. He waved his hand and said, "Stop fighting, the two of you. Once Old Cow remembers the pill formula, Ben Shao will refine a cauldron of pills for Shao Ruru. Keep your word." Kong Ro's beautiful eyes flickered and were filled with excitement. When she turned to look at Kuan Shui again, she snorted and said, "Big thing, just you wait." However, Kuan Shui did not care at all. She did not know where her courage came from, but she swayed her body intentionally and deliberately teased Wang Kai. Wang Kai couldn't help but stare at Kuan Shui's chest. Kong Ro was so angry that she gritted her teeth and stared at Kuan Shui's chest with her eyes wide open, as if she wanted to shrink it with her glare. "Ahem, Master Wang, where are you going this time? Is it the Dragon Mountain relic?" Gu Bingning finally couldn't help but ask. If she didn't have something to talk to Wang Kai about, she would have already left. Wang Kai was stunned when he heard that. He squinted his eyes and said with a playful smile, "How do you know that Ben Shao is going to the Dragon Mountain relic? Does the number 1 formation family know how to predict fortunes?" No wonder Gu Bingning asked to go with him. It turned out that she wanted to go to the Dragon Mountain relic with him. However, it made sense when he thought about it. This time, the Monsters Conference was ruined by him. Many Saint Emperors of the Pantheon of Monsters and the 4 big families had died. It seemed that the decision of who the Dragon Mountain relic would belong to would be delayed. If Gu Bingning wanted to enter the Dragon Mountain relic as soon as possible, she could only follow him. However, Wang Kai was curious. How did she know that he would go? "Master Wang, you must be joking. With what you did to the Pantheon of Monsters and the 4 big families, you shouldn't leave the Dragon Mountain relic to them." Gu Bingning smiled calmly. Through the various rumors about Wang Kai, she already knew his character. Although she didn't know him very well, it was close. Wang Kai shrugged when he heard that. He was too lazy to care about what she wanted to do. He immediately nodded and said with a smile, "That's right. Ben Shao is going to the Dragon Mountain. If Miss Gu is willing to go with him, I'm afraid that it will bring a lot of trouble to Ben Shao. After all, your realm. It's far from Ben Shao's. But it's fine. With Ben Shao's ability, he can obtain the Dragon Mountain relic with a wave of his hand." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Hearing this, Gu Bingning's face froze and a trace of anger appeared in her eyes. As the number 1 family of array cultivators in the spiritual state, it should be Wang Kai's honor to take the initiative to enter the Dragon Mountain relic with Wang Kai. How could she say that it would bring him trouble? Obviously, it would reduce a lot of trouble for the arrays and restrictions. However, she had to endure it. After all, with Wang Kai's current realm, he was invincible. By the time the pantheon of monsters and the four big families brought out their resources, the Dragon Mountain relic would have been emptied by Wang Kai. It was not an easy task to break the seals of those powerhouses with strong foundations. "Thank you, Master Wang," Gu Bingning said with a forced smile. Then, she tightly shut her red lips and looked straight ahead. She really didn't want to continue talking with Wang Kai. She was afraid that she wouldn't be able to endure it and get angry at him again. Buzz. Whoosh. Whoosh. Suddenly, there was a sound of something breaking through the air. A token flashing with 7-colored light passed through the bead curtain outside the carriage and fell to the ground in front of Wang Kai. Patter. Looking at the 7-colored token that fell on the golden dragon table, Wang Kai and the others were stunned. Is this the rumored token of the Empress of Fan State? Gu Bingning blinked her beautiful eyes and asked in surprise. She couldn't help but reach out to take a closer look, but the token automatically dodged to the side. As if it had a life of its own, it didn't want Gu Bingning to take it. It is indeed an ultimate immortal artifact. Gu Bingning smiled in surprise. She didn't seem unhappy at all, as if she already knew this would happen. Hearing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and picked up the 7-colored token. In the blink of an eye, he threw it out of the carriage window under the disbelieving gazes of the girls. "You? Oh my God, that's an immortal artifact. An immortal artifact that's above a saint artifact. How can you throw it away like trash?" Gu Bingning scolded unhappily, as if the immortal artifact was hers. Seeing Wang Kai throw it away, she was extremely unhappy. Immortal artifact? Wang Kai snorted with disdain. He immediately crossed his legs and said indifferently, "What's a mere immortal artifact? Even if it's a divine artifact, Bin Xiao wouldn't be interested in it." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. What a joke, he still hadn't settled the score with the Empress of Fan State. Who won her things? Moreover, even if it was an immortal artifact, it belonged to the Empress of Fan State. In his hands, it was no different from an ordinary token. Chapter 288. Whoosh. However, the 7-colored Mortal Emperor token actually flew back to him once again. However, this time, there was an additional black vortex on the token, and it was facing Wang Kai. "Fan Zhou's Empress, little b asterisk tch, is your butt itching? If you dare to disturb Ben Xiao again, don't blame Ben Xiao for beating you up." Wang Kai sneered. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Slap! Slap! Neo Tian snorted and stood up. He shouted, "Little Wang, don't resist. Otherwise, you will be seriously injured." Don't resist? What does that mean? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. Just as he was about to open his mouth to ask, he suddenly felt a strong pulling force shrouding his body. Immediately, his entire body rapidly shrank, turning into a stream of light that merged into the black vortex of the token. Slap! The black hole vortex disappeared, and the 7-colored Fan Emperor token's light dimmed as it fell onto the dragon table. Master Wang Kai, Kong Ro's pretty face immediately turned anxious. Princess Kuan Shui's beautiful eyes were also filled with panic. If Wang Kai died, then wouldn't she, who had formed a bloodline contract with him, suffer along with him? Outside, Jin Duo and the 9-headed golden dragon were also furious, their hearts filled with fear. A celestial artifact that can open a world and store everything. Seeing it today, it is indeed powerful. Gu Bingning's beautiful eyes blinked as she praised it. Slap! Neo Tian snorted and said, "Don't panic. Little Wang will be fine." These words caused the 9-headed golden dragon and Prince Jin Duo to calm down. However, the fear in their hearts still remained. That's right, a celestial artifact has its own space. The Fanzhou Empress must have something to discuss with Wang Kai. She didn't want us to hear it. The leader of the Qing Wan clan smiled. As the leader of the Qing Wan clan, he naturally knew about celestial artifacts. Compared to that small golden pagoda, this token is too trashy. The Paisho suddenly opened its mouth and spoke in a tone of disdain. It casually glanced at the token and didn't even have the intention to eat it. Neojatian looked at him with disdain. He raised his hoof and kicked the Paisho to the side. He said, "Do you think you have the ability to swallow this card? Wang Kai isn't here now, so don't try to act tough. Master Nyo finally has some peace and quiet." "Monster Ox, you what? Do you want to eat my hoof again?" Neojatian said disdainfully. The Paisho was so scared that it closed its mouth. However, it was still staring at Neojatian angrily. "When Wang Kai comes out, I will make him teach this damn monster ox a lesson." "Humph, he will definitely agree. 10 days ago, if I didn't give him those spiritual stones and spiritual herbs, he wouldn't have reached his current level," the Paisho thought. At the same time, inside the 7-colored fan emperor token, in a bamboo forest where birds were chirping and flowers were fragrant, Wang Kai vigilantly observed his surroundings. He could not help but send his spirit out to cover the area. However, before he could release his godly soul, he heard a familiar voice. "Wang Kai, this is the inner world of the fan emperor token. You don't need to use your godly soul. Go through the bamboo forest and you will see me." Hearing this voice, Wang Kai's face darkened. He clenched his teeth and said, Good, good, good. Little girl, if Ben Shao doesn't beat you up today, he won't be the most outstanding young man in the 6 states and 1 island. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Immediately after, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes. His expression was rather fierce as he quickly walked through the bamboo forest. However, a bamboo house came into view. In front of the bamboo house, there was a bamboo table with a wooden zither on it. The Fan Zhou Empress, who was like a fairy that had descended to the mortal world, was currently sitting in front of the bamboo table. She had an absolutely beautiful face, an otherworldly temperament, and an extremely perfect figure. Her white dress fluttered on the ground, and bamboo leaves fell on her dress. With a gentle breeze, her long hair fluttered, and a strand of hair blocked her eyes, especially her eyes that seemed to be able to see through everything. There seemed to be stars twinkling in them, and she looked like she was in deep thought. It was intoxicating, but because of her aura that could only be seen from afar and not profaned, it made people's hearts itch. Her thin red lips curled up slightly, as if she was smiling, as if she had figured something out. But no matter what, at this moment, she was definitely the most beautiful woman Wang Kai had ever seen. There was no other. Even though Jing Xuan's appearance did not lose to the Fan Emperor, her aura was still lacking. As for what it was, Wang Kai could not figure it out. Suddenly, the Fan State Empress' slender fingers gently stroked the wooden zither. Her translucent, sparkling fingernails were gently plucking the strings. As the ethereal sound of the zither reverberated, Wang Kai's face instantly darkened. For someone like him who did not understand music, it was naturally not tempting at all. "Little girl, can you stop acting pretentious? Pretending to be a fairy, are you trying to seduce Ben Shao into falling in love with you, so that you can avoid being hung up and beaten? Ha! Ben Shao will tell you clearly, that's not going to happen." Wang Kai's face darkened as he viciously laughed. The expression on his face was clearly telling her to accept your fate. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. These words immediately caused the Fan Emperor's beautiful curved eyebrows to slightly furrow, a helpless smile in her eyes. If anyone else was here, regardless of whether they were male or female, they would definitely be infatuated with the Fan Emperor's appearance. However, Wang Kai did not care at all. There was only one thing on his mind, which was to hang up and beat up the Fan Emperor. "Wang Kai, has any girl ever said that you don't understand romance? Don't know elegance?" The Fan Emperor shook her head as she lightly laughed, her beautiful eyes indifferently looking at Wang Kai. When their eyes met, Wang Kai did not know why, but his heart could not help but tremble. It was very strange. When he saw the Fan Emperor previously, Wang Kai did not think that he was infatuated with her to this extent. Why was it that now he felt as if his body had been hollowed out? But no matter what, he could not help but want to teach her a lesson. Wang Kai's eyes slightly narrowed as he shrugged his shoulders. His demeanor was rather arrogant as he strode over. When he reached the bamboo table, he immediately sat down. The position he sat at just happened to be beside the Fanzhou female monarch. Finally, he pulled the bamboo chair closer to the Fan Emperor. The distance between the two of them was less than a finger. You said that Ben Xiao doesn't understand romance? Ha! It's not that this young master wants to boast, but since this young master was born, this young master has already learned how to visit brothels and roam freely through red light streets and willow alleys. There are all kinds of beautiful women in the palm of my hand, and I'm proficient in both the pen and the sword. Let me ask you, where did this question come from? Wang Kai's expression was rather disdainful as he coldly snorted. As his words fell, he mysteriously stretched out his arm, wanting to pull the Fan Emperor into his embrace. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to Grade 2 Immortal Martial Stage. Chapter 289. Sit down. Crack. Bang. With a soft shout from the Fanzhou Empress, the bamboo chair that Wang Kai was sitting on immediately shattered, while he abruptly fell to the ground. An undetectable yet real power had suppressed him to the point that he was unable to move even a single inch. She was actually this strong? Why? Wasn't she just a sane emperor? Wang Kai's face suddenly darkened as he fell to the ground. No matter how he resisted, he was unable to dispel it. In fact, he was completely ineffective. He originally thought that after reaching the Immortal Martial Stage, he would be able to suppress the Fan Province Empress and fulfill his bragging rights. However, in the end, he was suppressed instead. This made Wang Kai feel that he had lost a lot of face. His heart was filled with anger. If he had known this would happen, he would not have acted so impudently. Now, wasn't he losing a lot of face? Little girl, since you did not abide by the oath you made, Ben Xiao can't do anything to you. Who asked you to be a girl? This young master is an outstanding young man who has tender feelings for the fairer sex. Naturally, I won't do anything excessive to you. However, if you want this young master to submit, that is absolutely impossible. Wang Kai sneered with a rather arrogant expression. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. If you want to kill me, do as you please. However, Ben Xiao is not afraid to tell you that Ben Xiao's neck is hard and his body is strong. If he accidentally injures you and causes you to vomit blood, that is not what Ben Xiao wants. Seeing that the Fan Province Empress was expressionless and her eyes were fixed on the wooden zither, Wang Kai's heart wavered. He once again boasted loudly in an attempt to intimidate her, although the chances of success were slim. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. The Fan Province Empress lightly shook her head and smiled, her beautiful eyes filled with helplessness. Her red lips lightly pursed as she smiled. Are you still blaming this empress for not saving you? Or do you think that this empress ordered you and Batian to find you? Whoosh! As soon as these words were spoken, it immediately caused Wang Kai to curl his lips in disdain, and he said with a rather indifferent expression, You and I are neither relatives nor friends, so it's reasonable that you didn't come to save Ben Xiao. As for that, you and Batian. Ben Xiao has never taken him seriously. Although that was what she said, there was still a hint of complaint in her voice. The Fan Prefecture matriarch laughed in her heart as she lightly nodded her head. Her jade-like hands gently caressed the zither as she continued. There are many powers in the immortal martial realm fighting against each other. There are also countless experts in the world fighting against each other. In the Gathering Treasures Pavilion, there is naturally mutual deception. This empress can ensure your safety in front of the other powers, But in front of Yuan Batian, who is also from the Gathering Treasures Pavilion, everything has to be fair and just. Yuan Batian is the saint child of the Gathering Treasures Pavilion, and you are the emperor disciple of the Gathering Treasures Pavilion, as well as this empress in-name disciple. Regardless of who wins or loses, this empress will not interfere. But if you win, the authority you will obtain will be even greater. Do you understand? Hearing the long-winded speech of the Fan Prefecture matriarch, Wang Kai instantly felt speechless. He rolled his eyes and snorted in disdain. In the end, it's just 8 words. If you want to wear the crown, you must bear the weight. The Fan Prefecture matriarch glanced at him in astonishment when she heard his words. She lightly nodded her head and smiled. That's right. That's exactly what I meant. So even if Yuan Batian died in your hands, this empress will not interfere. Since you have already won, the Saint Child position of the Gathering Treasures Pavilion naturally belongs to you. Saint Child position belongs to me? Wang Kai instantly snorted in disdain and shrugged his shoulders. His expression was calm as he smiled. I'm sorry, but Bin Xiao has long regarded fame and fortune as a passing cloud. Now, he only likes to live a carefree life. So the Saint Child position of the Gathering Treasures Pavilion, you should choose someone else. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Haha, then it's not up to you. The Fan Prefecture matriarch smiled. You want to use force? As soon as these words were spoken, Wang Kai's eyes instantly narrowed. He coldly stared at her and sneered in a low voice. Do you know that Bin Xiao hates threats the most? The saintess of the supreme Taoism sect, Jing Xian. Without the help of the Gathering Treasures Pavilion, wanting to be together with her would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Although you have now reached the immortal martial realm, in the eyes of the supreme Taoism sect, you are merely a low-level immortal martial cultivator. Are you prepared to be hunted down by the immortal emperor? The Fan Prefecture matriarch smiled faintly, her beautiful eyes filled with interest. Swish! Wang Kai's face instantly darkened. The immortal emperor realm, that was the highest level of the immortal martial realm. If the immortal emperor realm really wanted to personally make trouble for him, no matter how many lives he had, it wouldn't be enough. Although Wang Kai wasn't afraid of the supreme Taoism sect, Jing Xian couldn't be at ease. Saint Sun Song Yin was already dead. Who could guarantee that after the immortal martial cultivator broke the seal, what kind of powerhouse would appear? Even if another Saint Sun appeared, it would be a very normal thing, right? Not to mention, with the identity of the Gathering Treasures Pavilion Saint Sun, wouldn't acting tough be like a fish in water? Thinking of this, Wang Kai didn't argue. After all, whether it was emotional or logical, it was beneficial to him. If he didn't take advantage of the situation, then he would be an idiot. Since the Fanzhou Empress is so earnest, Bin Xiao naturally can't ignore your request. The position of Saint Sun of the Gathering Treasures Pavilion, I, Bin Xiao, agree. Wang Kai smiled indifferently, but in his heart, he was laughing coldly. If he couldn't turn the Gathering Treasures Pavilion upside down, then he wouldn't be able to call himself the god of bragging. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. The Fanzhou Empress didn't pay attention to it. She lightly nodded her head and laughed softly. Do you know what the leaderboard of 10,000 immortals is? Leaderboard of 10,000 immortals? Wang Kai's brows twitched when he heard this. With a surprised expression, he said, as the name suggests, those who can enter the leaderboard are all in the immortal martial realm? And there are 10,000 of them? Could it be that the Supreme Taoism sect also created this leaderboard? Wang Kai was extremely disdainful of the previous leaderboard of young sovereigns. The so-called young sovereigns on the leaderboard were much weaker than the princes and princesses of the various peak powers. Compared to the saints' sons and saintesses, the difference was like heaven and earth. If the leaderboard of 10,000 immortals was also created by the Supreme Taoism sect, Wang Kai would instantly choose to ignore it. It wasn't created by the Supreme Taoism sect, but by the Gathering Treasures Pavilion and the Supreme Taoism sect. The Fanzhou Empress smiled faintly. The Gathering Treasures Pavilion also had a share? If that was the case, then as the saint son of the Gathering Treasures Pavilion, wouldn't he be— Wang Kai instantly laughed softly. He was incomparably impressed with himself. He had just agreed to become the saint's son of the Gathering Treasures Pavilion, and now the benefits were already here. In the future, just by selling the leaderboard of 10,000 immortals, it will be a huge sum of money, right? Those who can enter the leaderboard must be in the immortal martial realm. There are a total of 10,000 immortal martial realm experts on the leaderboard, 2,000 of each of the 5 realms. The first 2,000 are immortal emperors, the next 2,000 are immortal emperors, and so on and so forth. What do you think your ranking will be? The Fanzhou Empress lightly laughed. Chapter 290. What's his rank? Wang Kai's eyebrows twitched as he cleared his throat. With an arrogant smile, he replied, "Your question is too stupid. Given how outstanding and perfect Ben Shao is, it's only natural that he would be ranked first. Such a simple question. Do you really need Ben Shao to answer it for you? Congratulations to host for successfully boasting. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points." Although he said that, in Wang Kai's heart, he was filled with trepidation. 10,000 immortal martial cultivators and the 5 major tiers were all ranked in the rankings. Never in his wildest dreams would he have imagined that the foundations of the various transcendent powers would be so powerful. As of now, no immortal martial cultivators have appeared in the 6 continents and 1 island. However, because of you, in less than 3 days, those immortal martial cultivators who have been sealed for thousands of years will reappear in this world. The Fan Prefecture female empress laughed. Immortal martial cultivators who have been sealed for thousands of years. No wonder they were so powerful. The Supreme Youth rankings were only for those of the younger generation, while the immortal martial rankings were for those who have been sealed for thousands of years. Since that was the case, how could the immortal martial cultivators of the younger generation compete with them? Wang Kai furrowed his brows. He suddenly felt the pressure on him increase. 3 days later, those immortal martial cultivators would reappear, and he had just broken through to the immortal martial realm. How could he continue to act tough? Could it be that he had to immerse himself in alchemy every day? Wang Kai shook his head and rejected this idea. The days of alchemy were simply too unbearable. Originally, the immortal martial cultivators would only break through to the immortal martial realm after 10 years. That way, the younger generation would have sufficient time to improve themselves. Based on the talent of those holy sons and holy daughters you've seen, 10 years is more than enough for them to break through to the immortal martial realm. Sadly, it's still early by 10 years. The Fan Prefecture female empress shook her head and sighed. Her beautiful eyes flickered. It was unknown what she was worried about. At this moment, Wang Kai didn't have the leisure to care about what she was worried about. What he needed to do now was to take away the 5 Emperors Dao token from the ruins of Dragon Mountain as soon as possible. Otherwise, when those immortal martial experts broke the seal, there would be endless trouble. Thinking of this, Wang Kai said indifferently, "Let go of Ben Shao." With Ben Shao's peerless talent and heaven-defying aptitude, it is not difficult for him to reach the top of the list of 10,000 immortals. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. First place? Do you know who is number 1? Oh, speaking of which, you have some sort of relationship with him. The Fan Prefecture Empress pursed her red lips, as if she had thought of something extremely funny. Upon hearing this, Wang Kai was startled. The first on the leaderboard of 10,000 immortals was related to him? Immediately, he raised his eyebrows and asked curiously, "Is it a man or a woman?" His name is Diyin, the sect leader of the Supreme Taoist sect from 1,300 years ago. He is an expert of the same generation as me and is also my sworn brother. His talent and aptitude are all above mine. On the leaderboard of 10,000 immortals, I am number 2, while he is number 1. The Fan Prefecture Empress smiled faintly. Her beautiful eyes were filled with longing. Di'in, an immortal martial expert from 1,300 years ago, the sect leader of the supreme Taoist sect. He was actually the sworn brother of the Fan Prefecture Empress, and his ranking was even higher than hers. What was even more infuriating was that the Fan Prefecture Empress seemed to have some special feelings for Di'in. For some unknown reason, Wang Kai's face was as black as ink and his stomach was filled with anger. He harumphed unkindly. He is just an old man from 1,000 years ago. If Ben Shao was given 1,000 years, Ben Shao could beat him up 10,000 times. Oof, but it doesn't matter now. As long as Ben Shao is willing, he can beat him up anytime. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. The Fan Prefecture Empress raised her eyebrows and looked at Wang Kai in confusion. She was curious as to why he was so angry. However, she didn't pay too much attention to it and smiled. If you can defeat him, I will naturally be very happy. After all, I was suppressed by him in the past. Hiss. Seeing that the Fan Prefecture Empress was obviously joking, Wang Kai felt even more unhappy in his heart. He coldly snorted. Since you are ranked 2nd, does that mean you're already at the immortal emperor level? MHM, my physique is different, so there's no need for me to be sealed for 1,000 years. I can suppress my cultivation base to the emperor level. Now that the seal has been broken, I naturally recovered to my peak state. The Fan Prefecture Empress nodded and laughed lightly. Wang Kai's face turned purple when he heard this. He didn't know what the calamity of the immortal martial domain was. Why would those immortal martial experts be willing to seal themselves for 1,000 years? However, since the Fan Prefecture Empress admitted that her cultivation base was at the immortal emperor level, it also proved that Di'in was also at the immortal emperor level. Not only that, he was even more powerful than the Empress. Seems like he really met a strong opponent this time around. Just based on the Fan Prefecture Empress's reaction when she talked about Di'in, Wang Kai already treated Di'in as his number 1 enemy, although he didn't know why. You said that Di'in has a relationship with Ben Shao. What do you mean? Oh, Ben Shao remembered. 1,000 years ago, Ben Shao did indeed have a servant named Di'in. Could it be him? Wang Kai's eyebrows twitched as he unhappily snorted. Congratulations to host for successfully boasting. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Don't be rude. BZZE. Abruptly, before Wang Kai could react, the beautiful eyes of the Fan Prefecture's female empress glared at him. The formless pressure she exuded caused Wang Kai's body to bend, almost causing his face to land on the ground. Good. You little b*****. If Ben Shao doesn't ruthlessly beat up Di'in in front of you one day, I'm not worthy of being called a human, Wang Kai viciously thought in his heart. Seeing the Fan Prefecture Empress protecting Di'in, the nameless fury in his heart burned even more fiercely. The Fan Prefecture Empress lightly shook her head as her beautiful eyes swept across Wang Kai. With a wave of her hand, she dispersed the pressure and indifferently said, Di'in is this Empress' sworn brother. In terms of seniority, he is also your martial uncle. In terms of age, he is also 1,000 years older than you. As for the relationship this Empress mentioned, didn't you once tell Lei Baiqi in the Buddha Prefecture that you met the sovereign Taoist sect leader once? Suddenly, the Fan Prefecture Empress's beautiful eyes were filled with a mocking smile. Only now did Wang Kai understand that the relationship the Fan Prefecture Empress mentioned was actually a boast he had made in the past. If he had the chance to do it all over again, Wang Kai would definitely not make such a boast. Right now, he even had the thought of beating up Di'in. You might have remembered wrongly. The sovereign Taoist sect leader that Ben Shao mentioned back then wasn't Di'in. Furthermore, when Ben Shao mentioned that they met once, it was only Ben Shao who beat up the sovereign Taoist sect leader once. Wang Kai's face darkened as he harumphed. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. The Fan Prefecture Empress lightly shook her head as her beautiful eyes were filled with helplessness. She naturally understood Wang Kai's character. Immediately, she waved her jade-like hand and gently smiled. Qian, come over and meet your fiancé. Qian, fiancé? Wang Kai's expression was extremely astonished. Chapter 291. From the bamboo house, a woman in a yellow dress slowly walked out. She had a graceful figure and a veil covered her face, leaving only a pair of ethereal eyes exposed. This woman was the holy maiden of Endless Treasures Pavilion, Yun Qian, who had appeared together with Yuan Batian at the Thousand Demon Gathering. Aunt Feiqing. When Yun Qian arrived beside the Fan Prefecture Empress, she bowed slightly before turning to look at Wang Kai. Her ethereal eyes glimmered as she said, "He is a lecher. Aunt Qian does not wish to marry him." Lecher? Wang Kai's face was filled with astonishment. He involuntarily lifted his finger and pointed at his own nose as he asked in a serious tone, "Are you talking about Bin Xiao?" However, when Wang Kai's gaze met with those ethereal eyes, he suddenly felt as if he was being devoured. It was as if she could see through all his secrets. This feeling made Wang Kai extremely uncomfortable. Qian was born with a spiritual eye. She can see through a person's character and lies, and can even see through fabrications. The Fan Prefecture Empress softly chuckled as she looked mockingly at Wang Kai. She was naturally intrigued by Yun Qian's words. Spiritual eye, see through fabrications. Wang Kai's expression froze. The world is truly filled with wonders. With just one look, she could tell that he was a lecher. Wang Kai's eyes slightly narrowed as he pointed at the Fan Prefecture Empress and asked curiously, "Then why don't you take a look at her character?" The Fan Prefecture Empress did not object. Instead, she gently nodded her head and smiled. Qian, take a look. Buzz. Yun Qian's gaze turned towards the Fan Prefecture Empress. Her ethereal eyes glimmered for a moment before the Fan Prefecture Empress was forced to take a few steps back. She shook her head and said, "Aunt's cultivation level is much higher than Qian's. I can't see through you." Did this mean that Bin Xiao's cultivation level was low? Wang Kai's face darkened when he heard that. He shrugged and said unhappily, "This woman has no judgment at all. Bin Xiao doesn't like her very much. Besides, Bin Xiao already has a wife. Bin Xiao won't agree to this matter. Annie, Qian is also unwilling to marry such a pervert." Yin Qian said softly. A hint of disdain flashed across her eyes. "Damn it." Wang Kai glared at Yin Qian. Before the Fanzhou Empress could say anything, Wang Kai picked Yin Qian up and said, "Bin Xiao has changed his mind. Bin Xiao wants this fiancé for now." For now? Upon hearing this, Yin Qian's eyes lit up. She shouted angrily, "Bastard, let go of me!" Slap, slap. Suddenly, two crisp sounds rang out. Yin Qian cried out in surprise. Her body froze as she felt the pain from Wang Kai's slap on her buttocks. She immediately raised her hand and aimed it at Wang Kai's head. "A mere Saint Emperor dares to use force against Bin Xiao? You overestimate yourself." Wang Kai snorted in disdain. With a flip of his hand, he neutralized Yun Qian's attack. Then, he loosened his grip and threw Yun Qian to the ground. Slap, slap. Under Yun Qian's angry and aggrieved gaze, Wang Kai clapped his hands and said with a faint smile, "The texture is average, her personality is bad, and the most intolerable thing about her is that she doesn't know how to speak and she has no sense of judgment. This young master doesn't want such a terrible woman." Aunt Yin Qian looked at the Fanzhou Empress with an aggrieved look. The Fanzhou Empress sighed and shook her head. She said, "The saint and saintess are meant to be husband and wife. When they reach the immortal emperor level, they will be in charge of the Endless Treasures Pavilion together." Wang Kai. Cough, cough. You don't have to waste your breath. For someone like Ben Shao, who can create a new world with a single breath, his wife must be powerful as well. This girl is not qualified. Since you are looking for Ben Shao because of the Endless Treasures Pavilion Saint, and now that Ben Shao has agreed, let Ben Shao leave this place. Wang Kai shrugged and said casually, "Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to host for successfully breaking through to the 3rd grade Immortal Martial stage." The eyes of the Fan Prefecture matriarch flickered when she heard this. She lightly nodded her head and smiled. The fate of the two of you has already been determined. Some things cannot be avoided. This Empress is looking for you for another matter. Ignoring Yun Qianqian's angry glare, Wang Kai shrugged indifferently, clasped his hands behind his back, and said impatiently, "What else do you want? Hurry up and say it. I have trillions of spirit stones and spirit herbs to complete. I don't have time to waste." Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Even the Endless Treasures Pavilion doesn't have trillions of spiritual stones and spiritual herbs. I don't know how you have the nerve to say that, Wang Kai. Yun Qianqian sneered. Wang Kai raised his brow when he heard this. Then he said with a rather indifferent smile, "That's because Treasure Trove Pavilion's financial resources are not on the same level as this young master's. Mere trillions of spirit stones and spirit herbs are just for this young master to pass the time. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points." "Oh, so you're a perverted villain who likes to brag very much." "Pooh." Yin Qianqian lifted the corner of her veil and spat at Chun Fan with disdain. Wang Kai's face darkened. He didn't expect this woman to be so infuriating. Just as Wang Kai was about to retort, the Fanzhou Empress could not bear to listen any longer. She immediately interrupted. "Release the Fire Phoenix tribe leader and the Blue Phoenix tribe leader. Release the Peacock tribe girl with the atavistic bloodline as well. The Peacock tribe divine ancestor will come to pick her up later." Whoosh! As soon as these words came out, Wang Kai immediately frowned and snorted with a rather unfriendly expression. "What do you mean? Ben Shao may have agreed to become the holy son of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, but he didn't say he would listen to everything you say." However, the Fanzhou Empress ignored him and continued. "The 9-headed golden dragon of the Golden Dragon tribe, the Emperor's son of the Golden Rock tribe, and the princess of the Kuan Peng tribe must be released as well." Hiss! Wang Kai took a deep breath when he heard this, narrowed his eyes, and sneered. "Little girl, you violated the promise between us before, and this young master has yet to settle the score with you. Don't you think you've gone too far by doing this?" 3 days later, the immortal martial cultivators will break out of the seal. With so many powerful forces gathered around you, even with my protection, it will be hard for the other forces to ignore you. The immortal martial realm is no longer the 6 continents and 1 island. The Fanzhou Empress said. The Fanzhou Empress had the ability to make all the other forces give her face. But now she couldn't. In the past, the Fanzhou Empress could suppress herself to the Emperor realm of saints. The other immortal martial cultivators could only rely on the seal. As a result, the immortal martial cultivators in the 6 continents and 1 island were afraid of the Fanzhou Empress. But now, the immortal martial cultivators were about to break out of the seal. Even though the Fanzhou Empress was ranked 2nd on the leaderboard of 10,000 immortals, she didn't want to offend the other forces. From this, it could be seen how strong the immortal martial cultivators were. Chapter 292. So what? So what if Ben Shao is hunted by the whole world? Ben Shao loves fame over infamy. I'd rather have tens of thousands of people hate me than to have them curse my name. Wang Kai sneered proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Swoosh! As soon as the voice fell, the Fanzhou Empress and Holy Maiden Yun Chanqian's faces changed. They looked at Wang Kai with different expressions. They never thought that Wang Kai would have such a personality. Little did he know that Wang Kai was just taking the opportunity to brag. "So you don't intend to let them go?" The Fanzhou Empress said lightly. Even though she was the Empress and ranked second on the leaderboard of immortals, she was slightly annoyed. Wang Kai was the current Holy Maiden of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, yet he refused to listen to her. Moreover, her words were all for Wang Kai's sake. If she didn't let the princes and princesses go, wouldn't the other forces come knocking on her door? When that time comes, the Fanzhou Empress wouldn't be able to protect Wang Kai. His life and death would be up to him. Wang Kai was well aware of this, but his thoughts were different from the Fanzhou Empress. Since he had already captured the princes and princesses of the various factions, how could he let them go now that he had already formed a grudge? If he let them go, wouldn't the other forces come looking for trouble? In the end, it was only because of the Fanzhou Empress's prestige that they wouldn't kill him. But in the dark, who would care about these things? In Wang Kai's opinion, the unknown enemy in the dark was not as satisfying as fighting in the open. Of course not. In the end, it's just a simple sentence. Fight to your heart's content, and even if you die, you will have no regrets. Moreover, Bin Shao is such a good man who can make gods and demons retreat. How could he be defeated by a group of immortal martial artists? Wouldn't that be the biggest joke in the world? Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Anger flashed across the eyes of the Fan Prefecture Empress as her otherworldly figure began to gradually fade away. Since that's the case, I hope you can survive. Whoosh! As the Fanzhou female monarch's body disappeared, Wang Kai and Yun Qianqian also disappeared from the bamboo forest. Bang! Bang! Ah, bastard! Where did you touch this sanus? Get lost! Wang Kai appeared on the golden dragon throne, followed by Yun Qianqian. She fell on top of Wang Kai. Coincidentally, Wang Kai's arm was holding her buttocks. When he heard Yun Qianqian scream, he squeezed her buttocks. Wang Kai squeezed Yun Qianqian's buttocks so hard that they almost popped out from between his fingers. Wang Kai couldn't help but tighten his grip. Ah, bastard! Pervert, I'm going to kill you. Yun Qianqian cursed as she jumped up in pain. She took out a long sword and aimed it at Wang Kai's throat. Ding! However, Wang Kai raised his arm and used 2 fingers to easily pinch the long sword between his fingertips. In the blink of an eye, he threw the long sword forcefully. Plop! Clank! Yun Qianqian's body was thrown by Wang Kai, and she was slammed into the left side of the throne. Her long sword fell to the ground and let out a buzzing sound. The women in the chariot were dumbfounded by what they saw. The tribe leader of the Green Phoenix tribe, Kong Ro, Kuan Shui, and Gu Bingning stared at Yun Qianqian in shock. The saintess of the Endless Treasures Pavilion. The girls had met Yun Qianqian at the Myriad Demons Conference. However, they did not expect her to appear with Wang Kai. Could it be that Wang Kai did not meet the Fanzhou Empress, but the saintess Yun Qianqian? What have they been doing for so long? Bastard, I'm not going to serve you anymore. Kong Ro gritted her teeth and glared at Wang Kai. Then, she grabbed a bunch of grapes and threw at Wang Kai. Upon seeing this, Wang Kai was speechless. With a flip of his hand, he stopped the grape in mid-air before shrugging his shoulders and crossing his legs as he indifferently said, "What this young master saw just now was indeed the Fanzhou Empress." Yes, after viciously beating her up, the Fanzhou Empress cried and begged for this girl to be given to this young master, so that this young master would not have to continue torturing her. Congratulations to the host for bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Bragging. Bah. Suddenly, under Wang Kai's shocked gaze, Yun Qianqian cursed loudly. Then, she sat down on the dragon throne with her legs crossed and pulled off her veil. What was revealed was indeed an extremely beautiful face. She looked to be in her 20s, with an enchanting temperament that made people want to protect her. Coupled with those ethereal eyes, as long as people saw her, they would definitely feel a sense of love. But now, her attitude was completely different from what she was supposed to be. Humph, you little bastard Wong Kai, it's not that this old lady is looking down on you, but just now in the bamboo forest, you were bragging endlessly. You were obviously bullied by my aunt, but you came out and said the opposite. At first, this old lady thought you were a murderous devil, but I didn't expect you to be so good at talking nonsense. You made me wear a veil and stay in the bamboo forest for half a day. Yin Qianqian rolled up her sleeves like a man, revealing her fair and smooth arms. Then, she took the flagon of wine from the dragon throne. Then, under the surprised gaze of the girls, she tilted her head back and began to drink. Huh, are you Yin Qianqian, the saintess of the Endless Treasures Pavilion? Wang Kai was shocked. He smacked his lips and was dumbfounded by what he saw. Yin Qianqian was behaving like a little girl when they were in the bamboo forest. Why was she so fierce now? If it weren't for her exquisite face and alluring body, Wang Kai would have thought that she was a man. Clatter! Yin Qianqian slammed the flagon on the table and wiped her red lips. Her eyes were full of disdain as she looked at Wang Kai and said, "What do you think? Don't you think my arms are beautiful? My skin is as white as snow, isn't it? Unfortunately, you won't be able to touch me in this life." Hiss! Hearing her words, Wang Kai sucked in a breath of cold air. He looked at the patriarch of his Cyan Phoenix clan and the other girls in shock. Their eyes were filled with shock. Yin Qianqian, the saintess of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, a Saint Emperor cultivator, looked like this. Clatter! Nyoja Tian snorted and said, "What a wonderful girl, I like, plop." However, before Nyoja Tian could finish his sentence, Yin Qianqian slapped him and he fell to the ground. Nyoja Tian was dumbfounded. He wasn't angry at all. On the contrary, his eyes were wide open. He was completely astonished. "And order me to stay by Wang Kai's side. She said that in the Dragon Mountain ruins, there is a 50. Clatter! Wang Kai's heart skipped a beat when he heard what she said. He quickly stepped forward and covered her mouth. He didn't want to reveal the secret of the 5 Emperors' Tao plate to anyone. He quickly sent a voice transmission to Yin Qianqian. "Yin Qianqian, if you dare to talk nonsense again, I will strip you naked and throw you out of the carriage. Don't doubt him, Bin Xiao. I know you will do that. So, I will listen to you. Let go of me." Yin Qianqian said to Chun Fan through soul projection. She looked at Chun Fan with a confident look in her eyes. Such a situation left Wang Kai speechless. He had never met such a difficult woman before. Chapter 293. Young Master Kai. The Peacock tribe's divine ancestor and tribe leader are waiting in front. Prince Jin Duo, who is sitting in front of the beaded curtain, looked at the 2 figures standing in the distance and immediately reported respectfully. The dragon tumbling heaven's chariot also stopped in midair. Inside the chariot, Wang Kai slightly narrowed his eyes. He did not expect the Peacock tribe's divine ancestor to really come. It seems like the Fanzhou Empress had reached an agreement with them. The Peacock tribe's divine ancestor and Peacock tribe leader were bound by the spiritual Tao at the Myriad Demon Gathering. Now that he had left, the spiritual Tao's binding power was naturally weakened. Even so, if the Fanzhou Empress did not reveal his route, the Peacock tribe's divine ancestor alone would not be able to find him. Wang Kai, the Fanzhou Empress has already informed you, right? In that case, quickly hand over Kongro. Swoosh! The newcomers were a middle-aged man and an old woman. This old woman was the Peacock tribe's tribe leader that he had met in the Skyene mountain range. Before the middle-aged man could speak, she stepped forward and sternly reprimanded him. "Kong Yu, don't be rude." The middle-aged man frowned and reprimanded, his heart trembling in fear. He had already seen Wang Kai's ruthless methods at the Myriad Demon Gathering and was truly unwilling to provoke him. If he had known that Kong Yu would be so impudent, he would not have brought her here. Could it be that he did not see clearly what had happened at the Myriad Demon Gathering? However, the old woman, tribe leader Kong Yu, snorted indifferently and said in an unfriendly tone, "Now that the rules have been broken, the immortal martial experts are about to break out of the seal. Even the Fanzhou Empress has to discuss with our peacock tribe. He is just the holy son of the endless treasures pavilion. So what if he has some ability? Swoosh! A fierce look flashed across the middle-aged man's eyes when he heard her words. He suddenly waved his hand and slapped down, causing the old woman to kneel in midair. Bastard! How can you be so rude in front of the holy sun, Wang? Quickly apologize. The middle-aged man sternly reprimanded. In his heart, he really wanted to kill Kong Yu. Even if today was different from the past, they still had to wait for those immortal cultivators to successfully break the seal before they could be unyielding, right? With Wang Kai's personality, how could he be so impudent before he had even broken the seal? The middle-aged man's heart thumped violently when he thought of this. He hurriedly said respectfully to the carriage, "Holy Sun Wang, please don't blame me. Kong Yu crash." Suddenly, the bead curtain rolled up and Wang Kai stepped out with his hands behind his back. He arrived in front of the old woman and looked down at her coldly. He said indifferently, "How do you want to die?" Whoosh. As soon as this was said, the middle-aged man's face immediately stiffened. His eyes flickered rapidly, but in the end, he didn't say anything. Instead, he stood quietly at the side with an ugly expression. Wang Kai, you should be very clear that no matter how strong the Fan Prefecture Empress is, she still has to consider the big picture of the entire immortal martial domain. She won't provoke my peacock clan just because of a mere holy son like you. The old woman laughed sinisterly. Even though she was half kneeling in the air, her tone was still extremely arrogant. In her opinion, Wang Kai wouldn't dare to go against the will of the Fan Prefecture Empress. After all, he was only the holy son of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, while the Fan Prefecture Empress was the owner of the Endless Treasures Pavilion. Since the Fan Prefecture Empress had already reached an agreement with the Peacock clan, would Wang Kai, a mere holy son, have the guts to go against her? Wang Kai's eyes narrowed as a cold light flashed. With his hand behind his back, he smiled faintly. So according to you, Bin Xiao is afraid of the Fan Prefecture Empress? There's no need to talk so much. Quickly hand over Kong Ro, or else, even the Fan Prefecture Empress won't be able to save you in the future. Patriarch Kong, you coldly snorted. The contempt on her face became even more obvious. Bang! Wah! In an instant, Wang Kai abruptly lifted his foot and kicked Patriarch Kong Yu into the air while vomiting blood. Wang Kai, you're so big. Woo woo woo. Patriarch Kong Yu fell from the sky, her face ashen and blood dripping from the corner of her mouth. She wanted to berate Wang Kai, but before she could finish her words, her neck was tightly gripped by Wang Kai's hand. The Fan Prefecture Empress is only Ben Xiao's concubine. She did indeed discuss the Peacock clan with Ben Xiao, but that was a discussion. In the end, Ben Xiao didn't agree. Do you understand now? Wang Kai disdainfully sneered. Congratulations to host for successfully boasting. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Hearing this, Patriarch Kong Yu's face became even more ashen. Her turbid eyes widened, and her wrinkled face became even more distorted. The middle-aged man to the side frowned deeply. If what Wang Kai said was true, then wouldn't this trip have been a waste? And whether or not they could escape was another matter altogether. Since you've already understood, then go to hell. Ben Xiao wanted to kill you long ago in the heavenly Yin mountain range. Wang Kai said coldly. Spirit flying knife technique. Swoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, a black spirit flying knife pierced through Patriarch Kong Yu's forehead from Wang Kai's eyes. In the blink of an eye, Patriarch Kong Yu's eyes lost their color, and her life force was completely gone. How could she live after courting death? Whoosh! Then, Wang Kai suddenly flipped his hand and threw Patriarch Kong Yu's corpse into the void, as if he was throwing away trash. He turned to look at the middle-aged man and said indifferently, Don't think that you are invincible just because you are an immortal martial artist. In Ben Xiao's opinion, any expert who stands in front of Ben Xiao will die. Get lost. Congratulations to host for successfully boasting. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Hearing this, the middle-aged man's expression changed again and again. His eyes flashed rapidly. In the end, he clenched his teeth and suddenly shouted to the carriage, "Kong-ro, your father is still waiting for you in the clan." Whoosh, whoosh. Hearing this, Kong-ro's pretty face froze. She, who was originally unwilling to go back, was so scared that her face turned pale. She could only clench her teeth and float out. "My father, didn't you kill him already?" Kong-ro pursed her lips and asked with red eyes. "Was he killed? What about the great Peacock Emperor in Fanzhou?" Wang Kai was startled when he heard this. He had never thought that Kong-ro would hide this matter from him. "No. When Kong you want to kill your father, I secretly saved him. Now he's alive and well. He is waiting for you in the clan." Divine Ancestor Peacock said sincerely. It was obvious that he was begging. Since he knew the importance of the atavistic bloodline, why did he treat Kong-ro like that? Wang Kai snorted disdainfully. In his heart, he did not want Kong-ro to go back. After all, who knew if she was telling the truth? When he was about to refuse, he saw Niu Zhetian running out of the carriage. Slap! Slap! Niu Zhetian snorted and glared at the middle-aged man. He snorted coldly and said, "Get lost. Bring my disciple's father back to Dragon Mountain in one day. If the Peacock clan does not fulfill the agreement by the end of the day, you will be exterminated. I am very grateful for your recommendation votes." Chapter 294. That's how it is. Do you understand? Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and said indifferently, if the Peacock clan didn't know what was good for them, he wouldn't mind destroying them. Kindness and hatred were clear, but it also depended on who was affected. As the saying goes, a dragon has a reverse scale, and those who touch it will die. If they didn't cherish the opportunity given to them, then they had to be dealt a heavy blow. On the side, Kong-ro lowered her head, her eyes red. She pursed her lips and didn't say a word. She agreed with Wang Kai and Niu Zhetian's opinion. Although she was born there, she had an inexplicable fear of the Peacock clan. She didn't want to go back. It would be best if her father could come here. Your father is now. ****. This sacred ancestor will not hide it from you. Although I saved him from calling you back then, I still caused him to be seriously injured. In order to preserve your father's life, I have sealed him in the clan's celestial transformation pool. If I were to forcefully bring him out of the celestial transformation pool..." The middle-aged man shook his head and sighed. Bang! As soon as these words were spoken, Kong-ro was instantly terrified to the point her beautiful face turned ghastly pale, and her delicate figure shook while she actually almost fell down from midair. Seeing this, Wang Kai hurriedly stepped forward and pulled her into his arms. Looking down at Kong-ro's helpless and urgent eyes, he suddenly raised his head and stared coldly at the middle-aged man, saying indifferently, "If you dare deceive this young master, the Peacock race will be destroyed. Congratulations to the host for bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points." Bang bang. Niu Zhetian snorted and said, "Even the celestial emperors can't save the Peacock clan. Little Wang, give Ro-Ro to me. I will go back with her." "Thank you, master." Kong-ro's eyes were filled with tears. Her face was frighteningly pale. "Don't worry, Holy Sun Wang. Kong-ro has the Peacock clan's ancestral bloodline. I can guarantee with my life that I won't let anything happen to her," the middle-aged man said solemnly. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes when he heard this. His countenance was calm as he stared directly at Ben Shao. He then spoke in a light voice. "What Ben Shao needs isn't your guarantee. In addition, your life is worthless in the eyes of Ben Shao. What Ben Shao needs is Kong-ro's safety. If not, Ben Shao will make sure that the Peacock race is wiped out from the immortal martial realm forever." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 4th stage of the immortal martial realm. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai's eyes flashed coldly. Even if he couldn't do it now, he had to make sure that the peacock tribe wouldn't have peace. Neo-Jatian carried Kong Ro on his back and left with the peacock race's divine ancestor. Wang Kai smiled and said, "With Neo-Jatian here, the peacock race won't be able to play any tricks." Thinking of this, Wang Kai couldn't help but secretly feel relieved. He turned around and floated back into the carriage. He said faintly, "Go to Dragon Mountain." "Yes, young Master Kai," Jin Duo replied respectfully. Before, he was afraid of Wang Kai because of the bloodline contract. Now, he was convinced by Wang Kai's strength. Jin Duo knew that he couldn't make the peacock race's divine ancestor bow down to him. However, when he thought about what Wang Kai had done during the conference of the 10,000 beasts, Jin Duo suddenly felt relieved. The Dragon Mountain. The mountain peak was tall and straight, reaching into the clouds. A huge dragon coiled around the mountain peak from the foot of the mountain to the peak of the mountain, completely surrounding it. Halfway up the mountain, there was a cave entrance. In front of the entrance, there were dozens of powerful experts sitting cross-legged. The monster race and a human race each occupied one side. There were a total of 9 Saint Emperors. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he saw this. These experts must be the experts from the Myriad Demons Palace and the 4 great families of Wu Province. If it was in the past, he would have been very careful, but now, after a casual glance, he looked at the Dragon Mountain. Suddenly, the dozens of experts naturally discovered Wang Kai and the others. However, just as they stood up and were about to question them, they were pushed to the ground by Wang Kai with a flip of his hand. Ben Shao is the most powerful sovereign in the 9 heavens and 10 lands. His name is Wang Kai. Anyone who sees Ben Shao has to bow and greet him respectfully. If you dare to make any noise and disturb Ben Shao's enjoyment of the beautiful scenery. Humph! Wang Kai snorted proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Swoosh! As soon as he said this, the corners of the experts' mouths twitched. They knew Wang Kai's name very well, but they didn't know what had happened during the conference of the 10,000 beasts. However, it was also because of this that they were extremely shocked. They didn't expect Wang Kai to be so terrifying. But even so, it couldn't be as strong as Wang Kai had just said, right? He must be bragging. Which bastard said that Wang Kai was defeated by Yuan Batian and had to flee? It's purely a rumor. With this kid's cultivation level, if he doesn't show his true strength, he will dominate the 6 states and 1 island. Many experts cursed in their minds. Could it be that the dragon coiling around the mountain was carved onto the mountain? It's really a work of the gods. Wang Kai couldn't help but shake his head and exclaim. The huge dragon circling the mountain looked exactly like the real thing. If it weren't for the fact that the giant dragon was made of rocks, it would definitely be a real dragon once it was painted. Young Master Wang, that is a real winged dragon. It has been here for thousands of years and hasn't moved even once. Gu Bingning slowly walked out of the chariot. Her beautiful eyes looked at the Dragon Mountain, and there was a golden light flickering in her eyes. It's rumored that the pure-blooded descendants of the number 1 family of array cultivators in the spiritual state were born with the Tao-breaking eye. I didn't expect to see it today, Princess Kuan Shui said in surprise. The Blue Phoenix clan leader and Yun Qianqian also walked out. They had different expressions when they saw Gu Bingning's Tao-breaking eye. As the Blue Phoenix clan leader, Qing had seen the Gu family's Tao-breaking eye before, so she was very calm. On the other hand, Yin Qianqian's eyes were filled with disdain, but she didn't show it. Instead, she pretended to be a gentle woman with a veil covering her face and stood quietly beside Wang Kai, a direct descendant of the Gu family of the spiritual state. Wang Kai, you want to break into the Dragon Mountain and take the relic for yourself? The dozens of experts below were livid. Among them, the 9 emperors of the Saint Realm were so angry that they gritted their teeth and yelled furiously. However, under Wang Kai's suppression, they couldn't move an inch no matter how hard they tried. It's the winged dragon that is hard to find? Not bad, not bad. Bin Xiao needs a bone of the winged dragon to make an elixir. I'll take the bone of the winged dragon. Wang Kai smiled faintly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. However, when these words were heard by everyone, they were immediately frightened to the point that their expressions changed greatly. They immediately yelled in unison, "You can't do that! Thank you for Piao Hong's reward. I'm very grateful. I stayed up late to write and update. Thank you for your support and love." Chapter 295. No. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard that. The system had confirmed that the winged dragon was very strong. Even though he was in the celestial martial realm, he could not defeat it. Master Wang, the winged dragon has been in this mountain for thousands of years. Although we do not know its cultivation level, it is definitely not low. Gu Bingning reminded him seriously. She was afraid that Wang Kai would really bring the winged dragon back to life. Thousands of years of cultivation? Neoja Tian had said that the winged dragon was extremely difficult to find. Even if it was lying on the ground, it would be difficult to find it. It could be seen that even if the winged dragon was sleeping, it was still cultivating. In that case, the winged dragon's cultivation level must be extremely high. Haha, it is just a winged dragon. In the past, Bin Xiao rode the green dragon and recited poems under the sun and moon. He held the stars and drank wine. How free and easy was that? Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and smiled faintly as if he was reminiscing. He looked as if he was really reminiscing. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. The numerous experts below immediately had their mouths and eyes slanted when they heard this. They looked at Wang Kai with incomparable astonishment. They really didn't expect that this kid, who had such a resounding reputation for being ruthless, would actually like to brag. However, for the Green Phoenix tribe leader, Princess Kun Shui and Gu Bingning, they felt that Wang Kai's words were not harmful. After all, they were already very clear about his nature. If he wasn't bragging, the girls would be shocked. But forget it. Bin Xiao thought that the winged dragon's cultivation was not easy and let him live. How many people in the world are as merciful as Bin Xiao? Only Bin Xiao. Wang Kai shrugged and shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Wang Kai, if you dare to brag here again, don't blame me for asking my aunt to kill you. Hurry up and enter the Dragon Mountain Relic. Do you want me to be bored like this forever? Yin Xianxian couldn't hold it in any longer and sent a voice transmission to Chun Fan. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. If she really called the Fanzhou Empress over, wouldn't the 5 Emperors Dao token change owners? After knowing the secret of the 5 Emperor Dao token, Wang Kai would definitely not hand it over. Little girl, if you dare to act tough in front of Bin Xiao again, I'll strip you naked and hang you on the claws of the winged dragon. Do you believe me? Even if the Empress of Fan Province were to come, she would only see your miserable state. Wang Kai viciously transmitted his voice. No matter what, he couldn't allow himself to be controlled by a woman, right? Just the Empress of Fanzhou alone was enough to drive Wang Kai crazy. He wanted to beat the crap out of her. How could he allow himself to be captured by Yin Xianxian? Yin Xianxian's eyes were filled with disdain. She immediately turned her head away, as if she didn't hear anything. Young Master Wang, let's go down. The golden light in Gu Bingning's eyes dissipated. She said softly and took the lead to descend. Wang Kai nodded slightly. He then flipped his hand and kept the dragon chariot, the 9-headed golden dragon, the Pi Xiu, and Jin Duo into the heaven-reaching tower. Qing Shuer, you two go into the heaven-reaching tower for the time being. A strange light flashed across the two women's eyes, but they didn't refuse. They gently nodded and were taken into the heaven-reaching tower. Wang Kai naturally had to be extra careful about the 5 Emperors Dao token. Even if the demon clan and the four great families knew about the five emperors Dao token, he couldn't let the world know that he was the one who took it. Why are you looking at me like that? Annie has ordered me to stay by your side at all times. If you dare to force me into that stupid pagoda of yours, Auntie will definitely sense it. Yin Qianqian's eyes were filled with disdain as she sent a telepathic message to Chen Fan. In her opinion, even if Wang Kai wasn't afraid of the Fanzhou Empress, he still wouldn't dare to be too presumptuous. In fact, that was exactly the case. However, Wang Kai had already suppressed the nameless anger in his heart. Once it exploded, he would definitely make the Fanzhou Empress regret it for the rest of her life. Little girl, you're not bad. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled inexplicably. He then placed his hands behind his back and floated down. When Yin Qianqian saw this, the disdain in her eyes deepened. She was incomparably disdainful of Wang Kai's fear of the Fanzhou Empress. He didn't know that his current forbearance would become the Fanzhou Empress lamentation in the future. Wang Kai, Miss Gu, Saintess Yin, you took the ruins for yourselves. Aren't you afraid? Slap. Before the Saint Emperor from the Pantheon of Demons could finish his sentence, he was sent flying by Wang Kai's slap and slammed into a mountain rock. The impact caused the Saint Emperor's blood to churn, and he vomited blood repeatedly. Didn't Ben Shao already say that? Someone like Ben Shao who can destroy thousands of miles of mountains and rivers with a stomp of his feet. Who would he be afraid of? Who would he be afraid of? If you dare to spout any more nonsense, Ben Shao will not show any mercy. Wang Kai coldly snorted. Immediately, the experts were so frightened that they shut their mouths. Only endless shame and anger could be seen in their eyes. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Immediately, Gu Bingning, Wang Kai, and Yun Qianqian stepped into the cave one after another. Hiss! The moment they entered the cave, the scene in front of them made Wang Kai suck in a deep breath. What entered his eyes was a small town. The houses and buildings were well preserved, and there wasn't even a trace of damage. However, what really surprised Wang Kai was the skeletons lying on the street. Among them, most of them were skeletons. There were very few corpses with flesh and skin. There were at least tens of thousands of skeletons. Judging from the degree of decay of the skeletons, the cultivation level of these corpses was definitely not lower than the Saint Realm. White Tiger City. It's actually White Tiger City. No wonder the four great clans and the Pantheon of Demons are fighting over it. It seems like the secret behind it must be related to the divine beast White Tiger that disappeared from the immortal martial domain long ago. Gu Bingning frowned and exclaimed. Hearing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and looked around curiously. Then he asked curiously, why are you so sure that this city is White Tiger City? It's just because of my Dao eye. Of course I can tell that this city is White Tiger City. Yin Qianqian snorted disdainfully. Then, she flipped her hand and pulled off the veil. Seeing her like this, Wang Kai was speechless. He couldn't help but laugh disdainfully. If you don't like veils, why do you still wear them outside? Could it be that the world can't stand your beauty and you want to lessen their troubles? I didn't expect you to be so smart. With my beauty, who wouldn't be attracted to me? Yin Qianqian's delicate face was full of tenderness. She made people want to hold her in the palm of their hands and love her tenderly with just one glance. However, her words, tone, and attitude made Wang Kai roll his eyes. However, he couldn't refute it. Yin Qianqian was indeed qualified to say such words. If it weren't for her manly personality, he would have doted on her. Welcome to the first Alliance Leader 2 involved. Thank you for your support and love. Chapter 296. Hee. Saint is unspiritual. I may be able to see through some arrays, but it is still not as good as the Tao-breaking eye. Gu Bingning smiled faintly, but there was a hint of displeasure in her eyes. The Tao-breaking eye was a special ability of the Gu family. Naturally, they would not allow Yun Qianqian to belittle them. No matter how good Gu Bingning's temper was, she would still lose her temper when she crossed the line. Are you saying that my spiritual eye is not as good as your Tao-breaking eye? Yin Qianqian's face turned cold as she questioned Gu Bingning. Gu Bingning turned around and looked at Yun Qianqian provocatively. She nodded and smiled. That's right. The spiritual eye is indeed powerful when used outside of arrays. However, it is not as good as the Tao-breaking eye when it comes to arrays. Buzz. Suddenly, Yun Qianqian's ethereal eyes flashed, and a wave of terrifying qi gushed out from her body and rushed towards Gu Bingning. However, Gu Bingning did not move an inch. She stood there quietly with a calm expression on her face, as if she did not feel anything. Yin Qianqian's eyes flickered as she looked at Gu Bingning's surroundings. Humph! No wonder you are the descendant of the number 1 array family in the spiritual state. Although your martial arts realm is mediocre, your array skills are comparable to the Supreme Saint. Yin Qianqian snorted disdainfully as she waved her hand to disperse the aura. Gu Bingning also sneered as the golden light in her eyes faded away. What were you two fighting about? However, Wang Kai's face darkened. He could feel Yin Qianqian's aura, but how did Gu Bingning block it? Array? Where was it? Gu Bingning's martial arts realm was definitely not at the Supreme Saint level, but she was able to block Yin Qianqian's aura so easily. Of course you can't see it with your mortal eyes. Just follow me from now on. I will take care of you, since you are the saintess of the Endless Treasures Pavilion. Yin Qianqian sneered. Gu Bingning also faintly glanced at Wang Kai and said with a mocking smile, Young Master Wang, didn't you say that you could easily obtain the treasures in these ruins? How come you can't even see through the array? Such words made the corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitch fiercely. He stared at her with a dark face and snorted disdainfully. I was just casually asking. With my ability, it is as easy as walking to see through the array of this city. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Gu Bingning and Yun Qianqian both expressed their disdain. Their tacit understanding made them look completely different from the enemies they had just met. Do you have eyes to see through the array? As long as you are awesome, any kind of eyes will do. Wang Kai was extremely angry. He immediately urged his mind to secretly communicate with the system. How could he be looked down upon by these two women? Where was his dignity? Host, you have a pair of torch dragon eyes. When you open your eyes, you see the day. When you close your eyes, you see the night. Torch dragon eyes. Hearing the prompt, Wang Kai's heart skipped a beat. With an extremely excited expression, he activated his mind and said, I want this torch dragon's eye. Host, if you want to get the torch dragon eyes, you will need to spend 5,000 bragging points. 5,000. F*CK. Wang Kai's face darkened and his lips twitched. With the bragging points he had now, he would not even be able to get 1/10 of the torch dragon eyes. Host, Wang Kai class. Martial artist, talisman cultivator secondary class. Alchemist realm. Level 4 immortal martial artist cultivation skills. Immortal true spirit technique. Elixir codex, spirit codex martial skills. Stellar transposition. Yin-yang reversal palm. Time 9 swords. Flying dagger technique. Indestructible fist. Vitality bomb equipment. Tower of Babel. 9 dragon cauldron. Death god brush bloodline. Level 9 bragging points. 360 experience points. 60000900000 inch cough. Which eyes are worth 300 bragging points. Wang Kai quickly scanned through the list before closing it. Then, he used his thoughts to ask, Host, with your current level and bragging points, you can only get the Eye of Truth. Eye of Truth? Wang Kai was stunned when he heard the notification. He frowned and asked, Can I break the array? What are the abilities of the array? Host, the Eye of Truth cannot break the array. It can only penetrate the array. Cannot break the array. Only penetrate the array. Forget it. It's better than nothing. I will give the Eye of Truth to Ben Shao. Wang Kai shrugged and sighed helplessly. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Eye of Truth. 300 bragging points have been spent. Buzz. Suddenly, a silver light flashed in Wang Kai's eyes. Both Gu Bingning and Yun Qianqian were stunned as they looked at Wang Kai in surprise. What kind of eyes are those? The two girls asked in unison. However, at that moment, Wang Kai was already dumbfounded where he stood because the scene before his eyes was simply too explosive. Don't you two have too much faith in Ben Xiao's character? Why aren't you wearing any clothes? Wang Kai rubbed his nose and glanced back and forth between the two girls. Her skin was whiter than snow, her waist was slender, and her bones were exquisite, especially her proud breasts, which were dotted with cherry red dots, and further down, the contours of her body, which seemed to have been drawn out, made people want to vomit blood. Such a figure was simply beautiful to the extreme. Ah, bastard, are those eyes of yours the eyes of truth? Gu Bingning's expression changed. She quickly covered her chest with her hands and squatted down with a blush on her face. Yin Qianqian was also embarrassed. She squatted down and glared at Wang Kai. She scolded, "Why aren't you closing your eyes?" Swoosh! Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He took a few more serious glances. Under the gazes of the two women that were about to go crazy, he turned his head and looked elsewhere. He said faintly, "This young master has seen at least 8,000 beauties, if not 10,000. All of them have figures that don't lose to you. What is there to hide? Do you think Ben Xiao wants to look at you?" Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Hearing this, Gu Bingning and Yun Qianqian clenched their teeth. The sound of grinding teeth was enough to show how angry the two women were. She clearly looked as if she couldn't wait to see enough, yet she still spoke such disdainful words. She was truly detestable. However, at this moment, Wang Kai was staring at the empty space in the city in shock. The evil fire that had just ignited was instantly extinguished. Above the void, there were shadows of white tigers pouncing back and forth. The way they pounced was exactly the same as the divine beast white tiger he saw at the Phoenix Mountain. Bastard, why aren't you closing your eyes? So what if you can see where the array is? The eye of truth can only see. It can't break the array. Yin Qianqian scolded. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.